Spiritual and Gifted Encounters. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to Spiritual and Gifted Encounters Open Mic Night here on Restream, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. I'm your host, Abe CS. Let's see how long we go on tonight. Not too long, I hope. I know yesterday we had a four-hour show. Let me share out this link to see who shows up here tonight. Hope everybody's having a wonderful evening. Sharing out this link to the groups that I share to, brothers and sisters. There we are. We're all shared out here on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. I know we was having problems with a connection earlier. So I don't know. I'm fixing to check to see if it's working properly. I guess it is working. So how's everybody doing tonight? I hope everybody's is doing great. I'll stay here for a little bit, see who shows up for Spiritual Encrypted Open Mic Night. I normally start at 11. But we'll see who'll show up. I know, like I said, last night we had a 4-hour show. We talked about all kinds of things yesterday, dealing with the location of Elms Grove. I believe I showed a film of the other side of Elms Grove where I captured some activity in the woods. I understand how people that are looking for cryptids never look at it as the spiritual aspect out of it, because there is a lot of spirits all around us. Doesn't matter where you're at, they're amongst us. They're spirits of fragmented souls. They're spirits of the people stayed in this plane because they wasn't prepared to ascend. Of course, you got the fallen angels. You got the DDN, the Legion, and all these things that are here on this earth. Of course, there's angels and spiritual spirits. This a spiritual thing. This world. We're here in spirit. We're in the flesh right now, but we're still here in spirit because the spirit is within us. Then when the flesh goes, we're still going to continue to live in spirit. It's just when you leave the flesh, your spirit can ascend to its destination if you've prepared yourself well. You'll be able to ascend to get certain locations, but you have to be careful. You always have to follow your spirit because the spirit will guide you where you're at. It's one of those things that I guess you could say you got to be alert at all times, even in the spirit. You have to be alert of what's happening around you. How you doing, Brother Law Morgan? I hope you're doing good today. I'm fixing to drop a link right now. Get the show started. It is open mic night, so it's about the viewers, the members of Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. If anybody would like to jump on, the platform is yours. Share a story, share a picture, something dealing with you, something dealing with you that you've experienced, and something that you're going through, something you experience, something dealing with you, not about what somebody else is saying. I want to hear you. I want to hear you yourself of how you perceive things. Uh, I don't want to hear about somebody else in another channel or somebody else somewhere else that you read a book or this and that. I want to hear about you, how you perceive things, because when you read books and you hear it from somebody else and you're perceiving what they're saying, I want to hear what you feel, how you are as an individual. Tell me about your trials and tribulations, who makes you who you are right now, uh, what you've been through in life, what you might be going through in life, right? The Heavenly Father is going to reward you for your works, not for the works of somebody else, for your works. He's going to bless you for your works. But I'm here all ears to listen to anybody that has something to say. Yeah, I'm just saying, Watchmen, that everybody's got a story. You know, no, there's a lot of fraudulent people out there that you know when they do a program or a show, to them it's about how many viewers they're going to get, how many members are going to subscribe, how many people are going to donate money and all this stuff. To me, it's not about that, because at the end, when we leave this world, none of that matters. You know, none of that matters. So when we leave this world, all that's here in this world is going to stay behind. We can take nothing with us. Uh, I'm just one of those channels that's straight up. Uh, I'm not in cahoots like how some people do with other podcasts, that they're all they want to be big and all this stuff. It's good if you want to be big and you're being successful, right? You're putting in the work, but here in Spiritual Encrypted Encounters, I'm just a straight up guy. I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing, or I'm not going to wash out what I say because I know somebody that does this or that. I'm going to be straight up, especially when it comes on to the spiritual aspect of things, and that's why I'm here doing the shows at late at night. I've done shows during the day. I could do shows during the day. I could do shows in the afternoon. I can do shows in the evening, but this is a time frame that I like to do the shows here in Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. Again, it's open mic night. Whoever wants to jump on, there's a link. I pinned it to the top. If you got a story, an encounter, or something that you experienced, don't be shy. Click on the link and jump on here. Whatever you want to share to the members of Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. Let me see what I can do here for y'all while we wait to see who's gonna decide to want to jump on here. Let me see if I can find something for y'all. Let's see. That's fine, Law Morgan. Sometimes you got to get that rest, man. It's important to get the rest. Uh, but if your spirit is telling you to stay awake, stay awake. But yeah, you got to get that rest. Uh, it'll make you feel better. I mean, I know I've been doing pretty good. I haven't been doing my normal workouts that I do, but we are on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we have open mic night here in Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. It's normally kind of like the same people that always jump on here. I just feel that I'm being shadow banned on YouTube, but that's okay. When you're speaking the truth and you're not afraid of any kind of consequences because Jesus Christ is with you, they don't want to put you out there. The ones that are afraid is, for example, like YouTube, some of the other platforms that I used to share on, they started giving me a hard time. TikTok was one of them. Twitch, TikTok for sure. I know about Twitch. I started doing Rumble just to see, if people are going to tune in or not on Rumble, or they can't even see me. I don't have Spiritual Encrypted Encounters on there. It's under my name. So I used to do the Twitch thing. I started doing the Rumble because they started giving me a little bit of a hard time. I didn't even know if people were viewing it there. Yeah, I feel you, Brother Law Morgan. The weather is not good. So I'm the late night guy that shows up late at night to do his shows. No, maybe one day, man. I'll start doing shows in a different time frame. As a matter of fact, I got the shirt on here. I'll share with you what it says. There you go. Fear no one. No one to talk about fear's got to be out of the equation. There we go. Fear no one. Shouldn't be fearing anything, whether it be in the flesh or whether it be in the spirit. You have no fear. How you doing, Sister Edna Wilson? Yeah, I stopped posting stuff on TikTok. I don't post nothing in there anymore because they said that I was breaking the rules and they were going to permanently delete my account and all this kind of stuff. So I stopped posting there. Because they got mad with one video when I talked about Jesus Christ. It triggered them, man. It triggered them so bad on that video because I was speaking in truth, spiritual truth about Jesus Christ, that it triggered whoever's in charge there. They got triggered and they put all kinds of bans on me. I couldn't do nothing for about 4 or 5 days. They were fixing to permanently delete my account, so I hadn't even gone on there anymore ever since that day. Maybe I'll make a video on purpose. I'll make a about do a little prayer on there and talk about Jesus Christ and place it on there just to see what happens. It's probably going to piss them off, and they're going to permanently delete my account. Yeah, that's why you got to think some of this locations like the TikToks, like when it's nighttime here, is not our daytime people running it. The ones that are running in the United States. There's the other countries that have the Facebooks and TikToks because they're everywhere, and they're running the show. So imagine at nighttime, like for example, in Saudi Arabia, is daytime over there. So you don't try and do your show at nighttime, and they're going to give you a hard time because, of course, they don't believe in Jesus Christ. So they hear talking about Jesus Christ, they're going to put all kinds of things on there because it's going against what they believe in. Even though I'm going live from the United States, that is, it's good here, right? It's supposed to be good. They're gonna mess with me, mess with my account because I'm going against what they believe. I've gotten threatened by those from those people from over there. When I do my lives and I talk about the Heavenly Love Foundation, or talk about Jesus Christ, they get triggered big time. They get triggered so bad that said they're going to come and shut my head off. And I said, well, if you come and try to do that, make sure you got a wheel because you ain't going to make it back to Saudi Arabia. Somebody coming at me in a threatful manner, I got to protect my vessel with no fear. Fear no one. That's when you have Jesus Christ with you. You got to protect the vessel spiritually, and you got to protect the vessel physically. So you're going to do what you're going to do to overcome the obstacle. How you doing, Sister Anna Wilson? So let's see if the night I will show up. I know Sister Brenda hasn't been showing up. I think she hasn't been feeling well. I think last night we had Brother Scott Baker on. Andres was on also. Oh, there he is. Andres Carizales. How you doing, Brother Andres? But he did not come on last night. But Scott Baker did come on last night. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. I thought I was going to do 2 hours. It went from 2 hours to a 4 hour show because it was pretty good conversation. When the conversation is good, it just keep on talking about it. I've been to Saudi Arabia 2 different occasions. The first time was when I was out there in Operation Desert Storm, and I witnessed the unclean spirits of what the people they call the Djinn. And then I went back in 1995 to guard the Kuwaiti border, which is the Kuwaiti and Iraq border. And I witnessed the Djinn and the activity that's out there in the desert, in which I think I was there like for that rotation. I was there for about 4 months, and I think 4 months, 4 or 5 months. I can't remember how long I was there, but I can tell you that the activity there, when it comes down to the spiritual aspect of things, is pretty hot, pretty hot. Of course, when you're in the desert, there's nothing blocking the wind. So when that wind howls, because there's sandstorms out there, you're able to hear echoes, of people making different kinds of sounds and stuff like that, because the wind carries sounds. So you're able to hear noises that people make, moanings and all kinds of stuff in the air that the wind carries. But yeah, out there it's pretty hot and heavy when it comes down to the Djinn. You're able to see one thing about the Djinn or any spirit is you're not going to be able to get a heat signature off from. I was a tanker, and we would laze at the target. So if I were to see, the dark void figure of the Djinn standing around the burn pits, because they're absorbing energy, I would look with them with my night vision, with the capabilities of the tank, but they have no heat signature. You're able to see the silhouettes, but no heat signature. If you try to laze at the atom, it'll give you no range because they're spirits. No night vision is going to be able to capture them because, like I said before, they're spirits. No difference than a Bigfoot or a Dogman. or anything that's out there that people say are cryptids, they have no. If they have no heat signature, it's because they are not cryptids. They are not of the flesh. They're spiritual beings. I don't think I've seen anybody capture a heat signature of a Bigfoot. If there is one out there, it's most likely a person in a costume. Now, I spent 10 years in the military. I have friends that retired from the military, but I would always see the dark shadow figures when we would be training out there in the on Fort Hood. But I would never tell them nothing. I could see them pass sometimes in between the tanks where we're bore sighting at nighttime, getting ready for night fire. They're looking through the holes, looking down range, and the shadow figure passes right behind them. Uh, which the shadow figures were taller than the tank, but I wouldn't say nothing to them because I didn't want because I knew that if I mentioned anything, if they feared or they witnessed, if they fear what I'm telling them, then that's a spiritual opening. So I would just keep it to myself. What I would do every time I would see things like that, I would just pray, type banner rebuke in Jesus Christ, but I would pray, not just pray for myself, but pray for my brother tankers that were out there with me for them to be protected also. So I've been out there. I was in 135 Armor when I was in Germany. We would go train in Hohenfels and in Grafenwehr. That was like the toughest areas to train. We were trained there. Gunnery was in Grafenwehr. Then Hohenfels was where we do the maneuvers. It was very muddy. When I was out there, there'd be ice. So it would be freezing. So we're training even in cold weather. Like freezing weathers, in which we have the equipment to train in that manner. Now, I witnessed some things out there, but it was not like I witnessed here in Central Texas when I was stationed in the Cav. The activity is everywhere here in Central Texas, not just on Fort Hood. It's everywhere, like in all the towns. I'm thinking that the natives used to live in this area. There were for sure the Tonkawa, but then you had Apache, Comanche, and what was the other one? Cherokees. They not Cherokees, just Apaches and Comanches. There was another tribe. I can't remember the name of the tribe. See, Apache and Comanche. The but the Tonkawa, uh, they lived in this area. How you doing, Sister Brenda? And those the Tonkawans, they used to call them dirty Indians. Dirty Indians because they hardly wore any clothes. They're practically nude, just about. They're called dirty Indians because they didn't like to agriculture. They were always on the hunt. They like hunting. They will follow the migration of the hunt. So they go hunting the deer. So wherever the deer migrated to, they will follow because that was a source of food. How you doing, Sister Brenda?
Hi. I was running around doing some things and I heard you holler my name. I heard you say something about you haven't seen me for a couple days. So here I
Yeah.
am. Here I am. Yeah, I've been kind of just I'm wore out. I don't know why. I'm just so tired. And here today, let me tell you, I went to bed last night. I fell asleep. I remember saying hi to everybody and then I fell asleep. I woke up at 7 this morning because the dog had to go to the bathroom. I had to go to the bathroom. went back to bed and woke up at 6 o'clock tonight. And do you know that I feel like I can just go right back to bed?
It's the weather.
Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah, it's been raining for the last couple days. We got another day or two to put up with it before
Yeah,
it goes away.
we had a 4 hour show last night.
Oh,
Mm. Brother Scott Baker was on with me, so we're just talking about all kinds of things yesterday. We mixed it up with all kinds of things. We're talking about the Wendigo, the DDN, and I showed the other side of Elms Grove, showed that video, and we were just talking about everything in general, you know.
hmm,
But tonight is open mic night.
it is.
Uh,
So come on up, everybody. Let's share stories
yeah, if
or
anybody wants to share a
something.
story, you're more than welcome.
Where's Andreas? Where you at? Yeah.
I think Andres, I don't know. He was there for a little bit.
Maybe we'll get lucky and Texas will come in early enough to jump up. I remember seeing him in the chat last night and saying hi to him.
Yeah, I'm
I don't
waiting on
remember.
this. I'm waiting on a jackpot right now.
Mm, all
It's
right.
at 116.82. So I said I can wait for the jackpot to go off or just start the live. So I said, you know what? I'm going to start the live because if I start too late, then people are going to go to sleep.
Is that one of those ones that you don't have to pay to go in it? It gives you so many free spins a day. Um, and they have like all different types of games you can play. Like,
It'll give you a couple of cents on the free spins, but you have to put money on it. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, because I play that and I had it up to $4.59 and I hit big wins and I was like, wait a minute. I'm playing so everybody else that pays in it gets big wins. I'm paying for somebody else's retirement fund, apparently.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. Either that or the lottery. The lottery's the same way. My caregiver runs down to the store a couple times a week to go get his lottery, and I'll ask him when he's leaving, where are you going? I'm going to go contribute to somebody else's retirement fund. I'm like, okay,
Wow.
one day we'll hit it. Yeah, right. I don't count on that. We're not rich enough to hit the lottery. Usually, the lottery pays people that are already older, retired, own property and nice houses, and has a bunch of kids and grandkids.
So you think it's rigged? Basically, is what you're saying.
I think it's something. I think you got to have a lot of money to
But
play a
but how
lot of
would they know
money
who
to
it
win.
is? Because they put their names on there.
No, I like I said, I think there's a lot of uh, people when they win, they have a lot of money to put into it. Like if I went down and I spent $1,800 or $2,500 on a quick pick, I can bet that that number will probably come up. So these people that already have a lot of money, when you never really hear about people who don't have anything winning. Now, I did hear one story years ago. There was a homeless guy, and he was walking around. He found a lottery ticket, and he picked it up. And I think when he picked it up, he went into a store and they checked it, and he won. And he went and he bought a house and he brought in homeless people and let them stay there. And then the guy ended up dying. There was foul play involved,
Oh,
and
wow.
somebody ran off with his money. And that's the only time I've ever heard of anybody who didn't already have money and not need the lottery win the lottery. So I don't know. And I do know that there's a couple times that there's been big people that really don't, like people that own big pharma or people that own, them winning. I've heard of that. Now, those I think are rigged. I think that they
Yeah.
deliberately do that.
Kind of like the what was the name of the guy? The sweepstakes. Ed
Oh,
McMahon.
yeah, Ed McMahon. Yep. Hmm.
They stopped doing that, didn't they?
Well, and here's the funny thing: when that whole Mandela effect
Publisher's
thing
House or
came,
something like that, right? That's what it's called.
yeah, but when that whole Mandela effect came in, they had said that he wasn't the one that would go to people's houses and present the checks. I remember watching that, and he sure did. Okay, but everybody said no, he didn't, and I'm thinking, get the hell out of here. Yes, he did. The Publishers Clearinghouse, and there was another one too, but he was out there doing that. I don't want to hear it. He did it. Just like let me see, the movie Shazam, they said that he never played in that movie, and that movie never came out. Nobody ever seen that movie. Bull crap. And then when people started coming up with the DVDs of it, going, what is this? Then they were like, oh, as a matter of fact, one person, someone broke into his house and stole all his stuff and made sure they took that DVD. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Mandela effect. No.
It's crazy how people be making excuses for everything and come up with some BS.
Yeah, I know.
And
And
people want to buy into the BS. It's like, man, come on.
and then they figure because like Gen X right now, we're in our 50s and getting ready to go on to our 60s. So maybe they think that we're just too old to remember that stuff. I'm sorry. We had that DVD when I was a kid. We watched it. My brother loved it. We watched it over and over and over again. You don't forget when in our generation, we didn't have things like they have now because we didn't have the internet to play on or movies we can search on the internet. We had DVDs and those were new, or we had VHS tapes.
VHS, and then
Yeah.
before the VHS, there was another one. There were like cassettes, like
Yep.
little cassettes, like
Yeah.
the what do you call those for
The
the music?
beta, the beta
Yeah,
one, and then we had the DVDs. But the DVDs didn't come till I was a little older. So we had VHS tapes, we had beta tapes. We actually went to Blockbuster Videos to go pick out movies on movie night.
Hollywood,
Yeah, Hollywood
Hollywood,
Videos.
Blockbuster,
Yep. So
Gen X. We spoke on phone booths.
mhm. We had
The phone booth,
beepers, and if
the
our
little
beepers,
beepers,
yeah, if our
walkie
beepers
talkies.
went off and it was our parents and we didn't run to the nearest phone booth or at a friend's house and pick up the phone and call, we were busted when we got home. But so we remember this stuff because we
The
actually
Walkman.
had, yeah, the Walkman. But we had to do footwork to get our movies. We had to go to the stores and walk around and pick movie rentals out, you know? So
Dollar
we
movies played
remember.
on Mondays. We had drive-ins.
Yep, we had drive-in movies. Yep, and they showed 2 to 3, usually 2 movies, depending on what time of the year it was. And we would all hang out there. My family, we had a truck, and we'd take a bunch of lawn chairs, and we'd put the speakers up on the back of the truck, and we'd be sitting out there in lawn chairs. And if we got tired, we crawled in the back of the truck with blankets, and we had popcorn and drinks, and we used to sneak in ice chest with our own drinks in it. They never really patted us down and checked back then. It was great. We didn't care if there's skeeters out there eating us. We just went to the movies.
Yeah,
Nowadays, people are just they don't live like we did. It, I hear people say that parents back when we were Gen X's, our parents were horrible people because they would spank us or they would put us in make us go to our room or, tell us we were grounded from the phone. That wasn't horrible parenting. You know what that did? That taught us to be independent. It taught us to be stronger. It taught us things that these kids nowadays know nothing about, period. We had sense of adventure back then. We would climb roofs, climb
yep,
trees.
yep.
We had sense of adventure. We would jump on a bike and never rode one before in our lives and go downhill and hope like hell we didn't get run over by a car. But we did it anyways. These kids today, man, they're afraid to leave their rooms and their
They're
computers.
all into video games.
Yep.
It reminds me of that movie Halloween 2, The Day of the Witches.
Oh God. Yeah. Well, let me tell you what they're doing by staying in all the time and with these video games. They're establishing friendships and relationships with people online that they've never met before in their lives. Okay? Which is kind of dangerous because when you stop and think about all of the pedophilia stuff they've been finding on these games lately, and our kids are involved in this, or our grandkids are involved in this stuff, and it's like it's so dangerous. It was more for us to get out and hang out with our friends that we knew, our parents knew, we knew their parents. And really, even though they still had abductions and different stuff like that back then, it was nothing like it is now. And our parents knew our friends' parents, we all knew each other. So, and my mom would tell me when I went to my friend's house, if she acts up, punish her, spank her, and then call me and I'll finish it, you know? So, but nowadays, oh God, I can't stand it. I am glad I grew up when I did because there is no way I could handle growing up right now the way these kids are now. I'd be fighting every one of them every day. Those kids would go home with black eyes and bloody noses all the time. I'd have to beat them up just because of the way they are. Nah, it's bad. Mm. I'm sorry your lower back hurts, Edna. What did you do? Uh, wait, wait. I missed something. Andreas? Somebody. I missed something in the chat.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
playing for this jackpot, see if I can get it
play it.
here.
Play it.
So, but you can share a story if you want to, Sister Brenda. Whatever you want to talk about.
I don't know.
The floor is yours.
Ed just says Brenda be fighting kids. No, when I was a kid, I fought kids. Not today. Today, I just shake my head and
Honestly,
drive away from
if
them.
they swing and they hit, then by all rights, I have the right to defend myself.
Mm?
Doesn't matter if they're kids or not.
Now, if a kid comes up to me and
I'm
says,
talking about teenagers. Teenagers.
yes, yeah. Now, I don't really have a problem with smaller kids because my wheelchair, that's what that they are more fascinated with this chair, especially the little ones, because it has like a red race car on the bottom of it. It's like a cover that goes over the battery and stuff. So, they look at me and then they look at their mom and they're like they want to come drive it, like they think it's something they can stick a quarter in and ride around in. But the teenagers right now, uh, I go to the store and I hear them talking to their parents like they talk to them. There was a woman in line. She had her teenage daughter with her, and she was putting the stuff on the belt, something fell. She asked, "Can you get that for me?" I hear this teenager go, "Well, you're the one that dropped it." I
Wow.
wanted, I just wanted to tap her on the back and say, "Excuse me,
Will you help
you're."
me hide a
Oh God, here we go,
body?
hiding the buddy again. I wanted to tap her on the back and say, "Excuse me, that is your mother. Who are you to talk to her like that?" I mean, it was horrible. And the lady just moved the cart, picked it up herself. And I thought, oh no, well, that's what's wrong. I'd have thrown something else at her and said, now you can get that too. Oh my God. It's ridiculous. I don't know. And when I think about it, we're the one who raised those parents that are letting these teenagers talk to him like that now. I mean, who? I didn't raise my kid to be like she is, but just college. It's college. College ruins everybody. Because,
You see
like I
all
said,
those
wow,
people that come out talking politics. They're nuts.
yeah,
They don't know their left from their right, man.
yeah.
They're brainwashed.
Oh, like I said, my daughter wasn't like this until she went to college. And then she went to college, and all of a sudden, her whole entire aspect of life switched. Now she don't believe in God or the devil or nothing. She looked at me and said, "Mom, when you die, you just die. That's it. Boom, lights out." I'm like, "What? That's not what you were ever taught." Well, that's what I was taught at school. I'm looking at the science of it all. I'm like, "Oh my God, here we go." Yeah, I know Nevada. My ringtone. Usually I turn my phone off, but it hasn't gone off for a while, so that kind of caught me by surprise. But I just don't understand. I mean, to me, don't these people get embarrassed when they're in public with their, teenage kids, and their teenage kids are talking to them like that? There is no way I would not let me adopt that kid. Give me about 2 weeks, and they'll be going home looking at their mom picking that stuff up, going, "Yes, ma'am." So I just think that it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Uh huh. Well, everybody's coming in. Come on in. Hi, yep.
But when they're
All
cussing,
right.
when they're cussing at their parents in the store,
Yeah. Yes. I. My daughter's on the phone with me, and she tells my grandson to do something. He just looked straight up at her and said, "No." What did he say? All of a sudden, my daughter turns to him and says, "Oh, you shouldn't say that to me. That kind of hurts my feelings." I said, "Oh, bullshit." I'm like, "You go over there and tell him to do that again." "Mom, I don't talk to him like that in this house. We don't hurt each other's feelings in this house." I'm like, "Oh boy. Oh boy. I think I need to come and hurt some feelings."
wow.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, "Oh, well, yeah. I think I need to get my hands on my grandson real quick." I mean, he said no politely. I'll give him that. He didn't yell it at her. He said it like, "I think you're wrong, Mom. I think you need to try a different approach." But yeah, mm. When I was a kid, we didn't dare look at our parents when they told us something and say no. My mom's famous words were "I will turn into a dentist and rearrange your teeth." Yeah, that was her. That, and when my brother and I were fighting, she would say, "Don't make me come in there, because if I have to come in there, I'm gonna smash both your heads together, and you can live attached together for the rest of your lives." It's like, oh my God. So yeah, yep, I'm gonna turn into a dentist and rearrange your teeth. My grandmother never talked to nobody. She just walked around with a fly swatter or a belt, and we didn't have to say anything. She'd just walk up behind us and smack. What was that for? I heard what you were thinking. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yes. I don't know. I don't wouldn't even know where to start with these kids nowadays. I mean, the only thing I can think is that something's got to happen to scare the ever loving crap out of them and pop them back into reality. I mean, that would be the only thing I could think of, because right now they are so far down the tube that, I mean, I'm all for us advancing, I'm all for growing. I'm all for learning new things. But when you've got 23-year-old youngsters out there saying, you old people need to go away somewhere and die, and we need to take over the world because you're doing it wrong. Yeah, that makes me want to just slap a snot nose.
Yeah.
Get out of here. You,
Who we
to
got here?
me,
We got Scott Baker here.
yeah, to me, they can't say anything because these kids at 23, 25, they really haven't lived. They haven't lived yet. They probably do not have high-tech jobs. They probably do not have any common sense. I don't even think people go by that anymore. We used to go by that. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, nowadays, they don't care. Scott, what are you doing? Uh-oh. He's trying to hook everything up. We'll give him a minute. There he is.
Doing
Hi,
brother
Scott.
Scott.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
I always get paranoid when you're on, Brenda, because it's like, oh, Scott, turn your mic off. Scott, you're too loud.
You're okay, Scott.
Well, it was I had this fan near a little fan, a cooling fan next to my router.
Yeah.
My son put it behind there, and there was some kind of that noise was like a feedback.
Yeah.
Coming through. I couldn't figure it out, so I turned it off. So it seems like it's always been working after that. So it could have been that. But I got a story about the lottery. Okay.
Oh boy, I like lottery stories.
Oh my God. So okay, so this is in Santa Cruz, and I'm working at the sports store, which I think I shared the other night with Abe. Like, I always wanted to work at a sports store. And this was back in the day, Brenda, and you would probably, know this too, that there were mom and pop stores. You had mom and pop, before the big chains came in,
Yep.
before it's five or, the big five or, all these. So that, there was a lot of mom and pop stores or, different stores and stuff. So, I happened to, my brother had a restaurant out in Santa Cruz, California, they're like twin cities. It's Santa Cruz and Capitola. So, right. So they had two sports stores, one in Capitola, one in Santa Cruz. So Santa Cruz was the main store. So I got hired there, and I knew everything about sports, but I kept on the low. So that they wouldn't get jealous or anything like that. And so I think it was, let me think what year this was, how many years I'd been working there. So I put in actually 5 years, believe it or not, in retail. And I did try to find other jobs, because you're going to, I was, let me see, I think I was 25 years old. And so I worked, 25 to 30 years old there. And I looked for a lot of different jobs because, my brother lived there and he had a restaurant, and then later on he had to sell that restaurant. But it was, it was a small little city, and it was, you could bike around it. Oh my God. They have bike lanes. California is pretty modern.
Yeah. I grew up there.
They're way ahead of everybody in a lot of things. And so anyways, let me get to the story. So I had, you could ride your bike to both cities. I mean, you could bike everywhere, and I love biking. I had a 10-speed with the, the bike rack and all that, and I was in shape and everything. And but it rains a lot, so evidently I started to think, man, I gotta buy a vehicle. So I went down to look at those motorbikes, those Vespas, the bigger ones like the Honda Vespa, and they go I think they go like up to 60 miles an hour because I used to do sports over the mountains, which is in San Jose. And then, I was thinking, well, if it rains, so the guy was trying to talk me into that motorbike thing because it was cheaper, And so I said, nah, that's not going to work. So so the year would be 1985. And I didn't know how to drive a 5-speed. I wanted to get that Mazda rotary. It was a 5-speed stick. And everything in California, especially like Santa Cruz, it's all stick because it's all mountains. You have to, know how to drive a stick shift and stuff. Very few automatics. And I went to the Mazda dealer and stuff. And then I looked into the vans, like the Vanagon, that VW, the van, because I was thinking if I move, I can sleep in my van. And then, it's like, it's good to move because you can put all your stuff in it. So I looked at that, and then I said, so then I went down to the Dodge dealer, and I saw this truck. It was it was the show truck, and it had mag wheels. The mag like stainless steel rims, and it had stripes on it, and it was a little 4-banger, a long bed, and it was like the show truck. And I'm looking at that going, oh my God, this is so cool, And, so anyways, I started researching the, because, I would mention like where I work because everybody knew, the owner of this store because he had been there and started as, I think they started as fishing and hunting. Then they went to a Schwinn dealership, bicycle, and then they went into sports. So they had changed hands or different lines and stuff or businesses 3 times. And his grandfather. So it was a well-established sporting store. And so they had 2 stores. So anyways, I go down and buy this truck. And, I'm going like, I've never gone in to buy a vehicle. And I'm like 20, I think I was like 27 then. And, I go, to the guy, well, I want the dealer price. You read up on, how do you negotiate with getting, how to buy a vehicle, right? And, Consumer Reports, they always, remember that magazine, Consumer Reports, and they would show like the best things to buy and all that. And, that was really big in the, the mid 80s. And so anyways, so I bought this truck, and so I put cash down, like, I think the truck was $9,000, and I put down $5,000 in cash. All right. Cause I was renting, but it was very cheap. And the situation I was in, enabled me just to bank my checks. And plus in California and my boss, because it was over a certain amount of employees, we got like free health insurance. We got free dental, eyewear, because it was like over 10 employees in the store. And so whatever check that I would get, I would just bank it. And so, my funds grew pretty quick because I knew I've got to get out of the state because, there's no, I have been applying for jobs and stuff. And I'm going like this city, it's a tourist city. There's no industry here and stuff. And all the industry is like over the hill in Santa Clara and San Jose, the computer industry stuff. So anyways, I'm working at the main store, and, we have down at the main store, let me see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, we have 5 employees. That's how, when you're working at retail, the more people you have in a store to wait on customers, that's how, you become, well known because of your customer service. So it was very customer service oriented, and we carried all the lines on sporting equipment. And again, mom and pop. So anyways, these guys, they tell me, hey, Scott, and again, I was telling Abe the other day, I was pretty naive. and they were doing pranks and all that. Remember, Abe, I was telling you about the different pranks they would pull and stuff. And
Yeah.
so so they said, hey, Scott, go over to Western Union and go get some lottery tickets for us. And I'm like digging in my pocket because I'm going, I don't believe in any of this lottery stuff, So I'm digging in my pocket for like, do I have $1 and change, right? So I do. So so they give me the money. So I go across the street, and it's like I'm kind of relieved to get out of the store because these guys, and I told a story to Abe before about they would do a lot of pranks to me and just a lot of stuff that I think they were jealous of me too and stuff. And anyways, so I go to this Western Union. So I walk in there and they sell gift cards and money orders, all that sort of thing, right? So I go in there and I say, I got $7, right? So I got, can you give me 7 lottery tickets? And the amounts of the lottery tickets were $5, $500, and $5,000. So anyways, I get the tickets. I walk across the street back to the store, and these guys are like frothing at the mouth. Like, I've got the tickets in my hand, and they're like, these kind of guys that I work, they're just like, they overreact on a lot of stuff, meaning like, they step in front of you and it's like some kind of big game that they do, I can't explain it, but it's like, oh, I want this ticket, all that kind of thing. So, so I have the tickets in my hand, and there's let me see, there's 1, 2, 3. Okay, there's 4 of us. Now a couple of guys got 2 tickets or something like that. So as I have the tickets in my hand, and they're grabbing the sheet of tickets from my hand, like really obnoxious kind of guys, like get away, Scott. These are So immediately I have the tickets in my hand, and I hear a voice in my ear, and it says, take the second to the last ticket. Now, meanwhile, people are peeling off these tickets, and I have the sheet, and it's, 7 tickets, and they're just like tearing them off or trying to find out, where, trying to get their tickets. But at the same time, I hear this voice in my left ear. It says, take the second to the last ticket. And at that also, at the same time, I said, I want the second to the last ticket at the same time. Now this voice was not female, and it wasn't male. It sounded kind of both, but it was a normal human voice, but it was as loud as I'm talking right now in my ear, Now, it wasn't like telepathical or anything like that, but it was like I could hear it in my ear. Like, the voice was like right in my ear, like, take the second to the last ticket. So as I said that, so for some, so you have 7 tickets. So somebody took the bottom one. So there was like I think maybe that was the last ticket, then the 7th one. Anyways. So I get the 7th ticket, right? So I have the 1, and all these guys are like, they're on the counter, and they got their nickels, and they're scratching, and I'm going like, you guys, you're not gonna win anything. This thing is, I just don't have the money to spend on lottery tickets and stuff like that. Now, meanwhile, I just bought this truck. Okay, so I put $5,000 down on a $9,000 truck. So my payments were like, God, they were like $187 a month or something like that. I can't remember. And so everybody gets done scratching off their tickets. So I'm over the counter, and I get my nickel out, and I'm scratching. So I get 2 500s. I think there was a $5 one there too. So it's like, so if you get 3, you win $500, like 3. So I get 2 500 and 2 5,000. So I'm thinking if I get another five, I'm going to win $5 or 500, or not $5, but I think the increments were like 500 and 5,000 and $5. But anyways, I got two 500s, two 5,000s. So I'm scratching, and I'm going like five. So I got two 5,000. So I'm going 5, 0, 0, and I'm thinking I won $500. But I keep scratching, and it's another 0. I won $5,000.
Oh,
And immediately this guy Mike, who is like the baseball, he's kind of this arrogant little guy, he grabs a ticket out of my hand and goes and runs up to the boss, because he's up in his, up in the mid-level where it's like an attic, but they converted it so he can kind of look out over the store. And this kind of store is really cute because it has, when I walked in to apply, it had a moose. It had a moose and a deer head mounted, and it had like a baseball cap, like hanging on the antlers, And I'm saying, this is the place I want to work. This looks like a fun place to work, And you walked on the floor, and they were wooden floors, and they creaked. They were like real, like old and creaky. And the store was like, it was brick building, and they're all kind of like the old brick style buildings. And this is what they call on the Pacific Garden Mall, or Santa Cruz on the downtown. So this guy Mike, he goes up to my boss and says, "Scott won 5,000," and I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna take the ticket, he's gonna, this guy, you just can't, I don't trust these guys because they pranked me and whatever else they always did, they do a lot of pranks, and I discussed that with Abe on a previous show, I guess. So he comes down, and so I get the ticket, and back then you went to San Jose to cash it in, and they only took, I think they took like $200 in taxes. So basically I walked out of there with 4,800, okay, cleared, without, after the taxes.
not bad.
So what happened is I took that money, okay, and then I owed $4,000 on the truck. I paid off my truck. I went on, paid off the truck. I went and got a camper shell, a custom made one, and then I bought like a TV and a a tape deck, like a VCR. Because I used to rent those videos too, which are Blockbuster or whatever, the places you go in. And I don't know if the other one, Blockbuster, but wasn't there another one like they had several of those video stores.
Yeah, Hollywood Video.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I wasn't too much in the movies. But I had sporting tapes, and the tape deck that I got was you could put a slow-mo on it. It was a Panasonic a VCR that it had. You record 2 to 4 to 6 hours, but it also had a special something you could tap on, or you could hit, you could switch on, but it was slow-mo. It would do everything with slow-mo something down. So I really I bought that because I did a lot of sports, and I could slow down, what they were doing and so forth. So anyways, so here's the thing is the truck was between like an 85 and 86. So anyways, I think what I'm building up on this theory. It's a theory, but I think it's really, I really tried my honest to try to get a different job everywhere. Every door was shut, and I started to get depressed. Like, oh my God, what do I do? Where do I go? I don't know where to go. So anyways, fast forward. So I quit my job. I had money saved up, but somebody convinced me to move to Minneapolis, the land of 10,000 lakes. and I kind of missed, the outdoors, what you look at and stuff. So anyways, long story short, with that truck being paid for, so I took off saying, you know what? I'm going to go to every national park that I can. So I started out with Yosemite, and I went up all through California, Oregon, Washington, Canada, Montana, Idaho, all these states. So I was like out on the road for like 2 months by myself with my camper shell, and touring, and going to all these places just to check out everything, because I didn't have a job, but I saved enough money that my friend invited me to Minneapolis. So here's looking back at this whole situation is, I think it was related to some kind of a plan that God had, like, because I had tried so hard to get a job. I mean, all kinds of stuff. And every door was like mysteriously shut. So, I got to Minneapolis, and I got a job in like 2 weeks working at the airlines. And it's like my friend was like, yeah, I went for training, and I came back, and I had this uniform, and it was like everything was paid for with the uniform. You have, they give you the pants and everything. And my friend was like, how'd you get that job? I'm going, I don't know, man. I saw something, and I went down for training, and then when they flew us down to Memphis, Tennessee, for like a week's training on really hard training to be a ramp agent. The people that drive the tugs out there, the ramps and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, so, I look back, not to go into that, but I look back on this going like, man, there's some kind of, and I wasn't really spiritually, like I am now, but it's kind of like when you look back in your life of like, okay, who is pulling these strings here? Is there a plan that somebody had for me to move me, out of California? And by the way, once I moved to Minnesota, and that was 1980, then 89 came, and that big earthquake hit Northridge.
Yep.
And it had decimated Santa Cruz. The sports store, everything was this old brick, so everything was condemned. Everything.
Oh yeah, you ain't telling me. I was stuck out there.
Yeah. All those brick buildings, those old buildings, they had to tear everything down. Even Johnny's sports shop, which I worked there, and they had to tear all that. Well, actually, I think they had renovated that, because I go back and they converted it now into like a shoe store, I think. And but here's the thing is, like, okay, so that earthquake happened. If I would have stayed there, and not win that lottery or whatever, so, but I'm thinking there was a manipulation going on to make me go over and get that lottery ticket. Like it was organized, like a covert angelic. I'm just going to use that word, a covert angelic operation, because I heard that voice. I tell you, and then later on, later in life, I'm going like, I heard that voice, but I have no one to talk to about this story. I mean, so all these years went on with jobs and so forth, but hence, this show in particular, I'm able to share, this show, being a witness of, not only Jesus Christ, but I think there was some kind of angelic operation going on to get me out of Santa Cruz and, to a different state where I met my wife there. And then we actually relocated here to Arizona. And I told Abe this, I go on, Abe, I got this theory that I was meant to get to Arizona at a certain time, at a certain place, at a certain time, to be because Arizona was the least likely place that I even looked on the map. I never even saw Arizona. But there is one little particularity that I had a girlfriend in California and she wanted to get married. And I'm going, I don't want to get married because I don't have a good job. I can't work at this retail. It's a retail store. And, I need something, something more substantial. But she goes, well, my father is a professor at Flagstaff University. I'm just saying that, meaning like, was that another part of the plan of possibly moving to Arizona? Because she had mentioned something about her dad was going to go down. They rent those rubber rafts, and they go down the Colorado River and stuff like that. They have that. And I really like that. Anyways, I love whitewater rafting and all that stuff because later on I did that in North Carolina where my folks live. But anyways, so I think there's a plan that God had, because I look back on that situation and all those, jobs moving and it's not easy. That's the thing. But it's kind of like to get me here to Arizona for some kind of, and Abe, I would have never seen your show or been on your show or anything like that too, this whole paranormal thing, because when I arrived in Arizona from Iowa, because we moved from Minnesota to Iowa to Arizona, I couldn't believe like how spiritual and paranormal this state was, So I just want to end it with that, saying the lottery, Brenda, the lottery, you don't, the saying is, if you don't play, you won't win, right?
This is true.
I don't know,
true.
But I mean, look, what are the odds really, of a scratch off, and then my friend at the other, and then I also worked in Capitola store. My friend who worked there, another guy who worked primarily at that store because he strung tennis rackets and all this stuff. He said to me, and he was a really, really nice guy, not like those other guys who were like, kind of like, they were like clicky guys. And this guy, Gabe, would say, Scott, you deserve to win that. And I'm wondering, even he said that it was a confirmation, like something was impressing on him. Tell Scott you were meant to win that money. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I look back on that because, you have to really look back in your past, how people come into your life and how things are kind of like, how the situation develops, with people and how, God uses people and different things like that. And I don't want to go on too long about that story, but I'm pretty much convinced that this was orchestrated by a higher intelligence. That's all I'm going to say, because I can't really pinpoint anything. But I think there is a plan that they pushed me out of California, knowing also maybe the earthquake, that I was going to lose everything. And then where do I go? Maybe I make the wrong decision and go to San Diego, because I went there too. And, my dad was trying to buy something in San Diego, couldn't afford it, because I wanted to move there. I really liked the weather in San Diego. And that didn't work out. But anyways, all these things that all the doors shut didn't work out. And like Arizona, like, oh my God, the least likely, we went everywhere to interview on jobs too. When I was married, we went to Texas, College Station. We went to Missouri, Jeff City, everywhere interviewing for jobs to get out of the Midwest. Here's the thing. I met my wife and she already worked here in Arizona. So it's almost like, I think I told briefly the story once before, but I think God, I'm just going to say this. I think God was looking, if I moved to Minneapolis through this other agenda, who was in Minneapolis that that Scott can get to Arizona with? You know what I mean? And I met her at a mobile home park. We sold her mobile home. We ended up selling mine or giving it away to the realtor, buying it. You know how that works, right? You try to sell a mobile home and they're switching it from 55 or older. Then it's all ages back and forth. I mean, mobile homes are like, oh my God, but the point I'm trying to make is this thing was, I really believe it was organized to get me with other people, with my ex-wife right now, to get to, Phoenix, Arizona. And that was back in 98. And I've been here since 1998. And I'm retired now, but it's kind of like, I think, God, sees that you're trying, you put the first leg forward, and then he'll help you with the next leg. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's a give and take. I mean, it's not like, and that's what I believe. I really believe that we have to make the initiative move, and then whether it's the angels or whatever, but it's we're making that decision. And like, hey, you got that shirt, no fear, and when you have no fear, you take a chance. I'm a daredevil. I'm not afraid of I guess, I've had so many different jobs. And
I like that shirt.
A lot of people go, well, I've only had 5 jobs in my whole life. I'm going like, I've had over 35 jobs in my whole life. Some a couple jobs I only for one day, So it's kind of like you start over, you keep starting over, but you kind of move forward in all that. But I really think I'm just sharing that as far as that lottery goes, is it's a tool that I think, that the angelic realm uses, and it's not bad. I don't think it's bad, I mean, they say, gambling or whatever else, but I think, it's a way of it's another tool that God uses. Anyways, I'm going to end it with that. So I just want to get your opinion. What do you think?
It does say, even in the Bible, that God helps those who help themselves.
Yeah.
So people that aren't doing anything, that sit around and wonder why they're not getting any help from God. Well, number one, you are getting help because you wake up every day. But, he's not going to help you if you're just going to sit around and say, God, pay my bills. It doesn't work like that. Did you hit anything yet, Abe? And let me tell you.
No.
Let me tell you something
I
funny.
wasn't playing.
There's a thing behind Abe on the wall that has a top wooden part, and then it looks like a mirror, right? Well, I looked up, and Abe was sitting right at a perfect spot where it looked like Abe had a man bun in the back of his head. I almost said, Abe, did you forget to get a haircut?
He's like a samurai, like a Japanese samurai.
I got to put my minerals in there. That's why I got to say I haven't done it yet. I still got them in the crates.
Yeah, I just happened to look up and you were sitting just right where it looked like you had a big man bun. And I thought, I don't remember Abe growing his hair out. Wait a minute.
Right there.
Then he moved again, and then I've seen the back of it, and I was like, oh, that's right, that thing's up there. I forgot. Oh my gosh. But yeah, you gotta do something for yourself in order, and people are like that too. It's not only the father. You can't sit around and expect everybody help you, and you're just not doing anything to help yourself. I mean, if it's somebody who can't do anything at all, can't move, can't do anything, well, yeah, people are going to help, but you got to get out there and do some things for yourself. And if you can't do it all the time, do it when you can,
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I just wanted to share that story because we talk on the show about spiritual things and cryptids, right? But the spiritual aspect of stories, it's fascinating. Like Abe and I were talking last night about this, this invisible realm, what's going on behind the scenes. And, it's like, what is going on here? You know, what is, I mean, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's never ending. It's something that, I mean, certainly me, I'm very inquisitive. And then, moving here, all of a sudden my mind was blown going, oh my God, I remember watching all this stuff on TV like Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster and the Bermuda Triangle. And it's like all the stuff kind of came back to me going like, man, I really like this stuff. I never had time to research it. So I just like every day, here in Arizona, there was all these meetings you could go to, all these meetings, and some of them are in Sedona. So, and I was like going everywhere to try to like, what's going on here? What's going on with all this new age stuff? What's going on with, dowsing? Because I joined all these different organizations and clubs to kind of research. That's what I really like to do. I like to research, like,
Right.
is this real? Is this real? Is dowsing real? Which is like what they call water witching, but it's, you take the stick. If people don't know that,
Dowsing rods.
take
Yeah.
the stick and you're looking for water. It's like a V stick.
Yeah, that's the way they used to do it in the old days. To look for water is they used to use those rods and the water, they could find the water that way.
Yeah.
But
So-
see, here's the thing with dowsing rods. All right. Now, I had friends that belonged to not bad witch covens, but pretty decent ones. And I did that and hung out with them just to find out different things. Like you said, I wanted to learn what was so different. But if you've got dowsing rods and seeing they were used in the olden days to find water, think about it. What is water? Water is energy. So those dowsing rods are attracted to energy, whether it's water, whether it's electric, our ground. We have grounding energy in our grass, in our sand, in our dirt, our trees. So those dowsing rods, if you're out in the middle of the beach, I don't see them working as well unless you're closer to the water. But when you're out in the woods, those things should go off anyways and tell you there's stuff there.
Mm.
So dowsing rods, I don't really trust because they're led by energy. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, you
Well,
gotta be careful with some of that stuff because a lot of the new age stuff, they're using all the techniques that they used to use way before us. And those things were used for just that, like our pyramids. You see pyramids and you see them inside, they show you it's all dry. Go under those pyramids. And under those pyramids, they use the copper with the wire to produce electricity. There's water under every pyramid, even the ones in the desert. They just got to be down far enough. Water is an energy. It's a source of, what do you call that, Abe? Like a source of conduit. It conjures energy, and putting copper with it. I take copper wire, actual copper wire, and I wrap them around a stick. And I put that stick down into plants, and it helps those plants grow. If you put it into one that's, looks like it's not doing too good, put that copper in there. and that plant will just go woo and grow because copper is a conductor of energy. So yeah,
Y'all never heard of the guy Justin?
what?
Somebody named David Wilcox. That he died or something.
Oh
Is the
yeah,
guy that committed suicide?
I know who David Wilcox is. Yes, you know,
Telling you, man, all that has to do with spiritual, man. DDN. That's what they do.
Yeah, and
well,
they never talked about that, Abe. You know, these people that, whether they're ufologists or, you know, New Age people or the Galactic Federation or, you know, all this sort of thing, you know, which when I moved here, that was big, you know, all these groups and stuff. And I would go there and listen. And, you know, I just wanted to find out, you know, what's going on. And,
It's just
uh,
this time, man. You know, he's got the
it's yeah,
same
they
proportion,
never,
and the collector come.
yeah.
The collector come to collect.
But you know, here's the thing, Abe, is I worked with Native American Indians too at work, and they were like you. They were like, oh, that's taboo, Scott. You know, this, you know, they had all these things that they would tell me and stuff. And like, you know, I was you know, I was like, I was interested. I didn't think it was baloney because I had researched the Native American Indians and a lot of that stuff too. And I went to all these, you know, different powwows and stuff like that. And, but they had this spirituality aspect, which kind of like it steered me away from kind of the ufology or the new age kind of stuff because you know these are people that I work with, but they had, you know, they had this, you, it was almost like they had this spirituality history in
Uh,
them that they would
um,
talk about certain things, that this new age stuff, it was always something else like selling books or whatever else. But these people like already, and these are guys that I'm working with, you know, that that, and obviously where I used to work is a lot of them, a lot of the Native American Indians were, and this is my, I can probably, you could probably agree with me. A lot of the Indian tribes that when colonialism came to the United States, they had to push this liquor just to get the Indians drunk. And you know, when you take the word Canada Dry, okay, in Canada, the reason why that name, you know, that it's like a soft drink or whatever, is there was a bishop from the Vatican who went and tried to do that in Canada, to take all the whiskey and bourbon and all the alcohol out of Canada. And you can research this. And this guy, he ended up representing this bishop, and then he ended up representing, believe it or not, Abraham Lincoln. And you can research this. And because Abraham Lincoln was, I'm just getting off track for a second, but Abraham Lincoln was a senator in Chicago, Illinois, and then he ran for president. But the anyways, I'm getting off track a little bit. But what I'm saying is the tribes, you know, in America, they were purposely, it's like a big conspiracy. They were purposely, because I think, hey, think about this. Because these tribes are so highly spiritual and guided by God, that this European colonialism want to shut that down. Because I even went to Canada to go fishing, and the guides that were up in Canada, they were like drinking like crazy. They were drinking, you know, bourbon, and you know, they were like drunks. They were all drunk, and And the guys that I worked at work, they're all in with DWI, drinking. They were all. So what is the big message here? That the Native American Indians, not only was their land taken, but also there was a systematic, and this is my belief, there was a systematic operation to like use alcohol, right? And alcohol are what? Spirits, right? Right? Because you get drunk, there you go. Hey, you get drunk, you got that opening.
Yeah,
you know?
spiritual opening.
Gosh,
Just like
I tell
this,
you. I mean, I think
this guy that Justin is talking about, that he was a New Age and that he believed in Jesus Christ. Well, if he believed in Jesus Christ, he would have taken his life. So what openings did he have? It's because he was believing in other things that wasn't of God, wasn't of Jesus Christ.
And none of that New Age stuff.
What do you call those people? False religion. So he says, just put your faith in the universe. No, your faith should be with God and Jesus Christ.
Wow.
He's talking about peace, the Space Brothers, and come to see the NASA they do fake videos.
Apparently, Lawrence went fishing and found something or seen something that was, what do you say? It was like 10 or 11 feet tall. Huh. Lawrence, you want to come up and tell Abe what you seen?
I'm just saying that guy that took his life, he had some spiritual openings.
Yeah.
He said he believed in Jesus Christ. Well, where was Jesus Christ to protect him from him taking his life? He chose, right? He was believing in other things.
Yeah.
It's one of the last electricians that I had at the base, because they stuck me with the electricians because the energy guy didn't want to deal with the electrical issues anymore. And it's like, oh my God. So I got kind of nominated, right, to be kind of the supervisor over all this. But, we would go out and do these jobs at all the different locations because we did all of Central Arizona for all the base, all the buildings, all the armories, everything. So he would tell me so illegally we would like go over to his house where he had and stuff. And I'm going like, how could you ever do this? And it was like his third DWI. And I'm going like, and these people are smart. And I'm going like, why would you jeopardize yourself like this? Drinking, it's drinking because a lot of the cops, they're just waiting for you outside the bar. They're sitting out in the parking lot, or they'll go in the restaurant and you're having a couple beers, including me, with my music stuff. And they're having beers and chips and stuff. And they're like looking around, like, they're looking for somebody, but they're looking at us going like, well, let's follow these people home and see if they're worthy for the private prison system. All right. So, and I had that happen. I had one of those cops follow me home. Anyways, what I'm saying is like these Native American Indians that I work with is they were all DWI. And
well,
it's like, it was so sad, so I started researching and looking back on like, these issues about this country, in the incarceration, the private prison, because they have to arrest these people because it's all on the stock exchange, these private prisons, they're making each person that goes into the prison system. I mean, it's like, there's $50,000, in the stock options for people, I mean, it's crazy. I don't think anybody even knows that, but they have a lot of these private prisons and they got to get these people in. So they, but a lot of them are, Arizona is a lot of Spanish, a lot of Native American Indians, but primary Native American Indians, and I felt like really like, oh my God, this is such a conspiracy. And these people are just naturally smart too. And again, this, bringing the spiritual aspect, not all of them, but some of the guys I work with, one of them was in a movie. He was an extra, even in a movie with Midnight Express or something like that. Midnight Run. You ever remember that movie, Brenda? Or
Yeah,
Midnight Run?
It's been a long time.
But he, one of these popular movies, and he was like because I worked with him like 5 years, that electrician, and but anyways, just to get off that subject for a second, but it's that alcohol and drinking, and it opens yourself up. It really does, and it's kind of sad that the American Indians, Native American Indian tribes, whether it's Diné or Mohawk or Cherokee, whatever, they're singled out because I think they have this ability, spirituality, probably to fight, that are able spiritual warriors, spiritual warfare. And I just think that, the powers that be, it's another way of keeping these, chosen, let's just use that word, chosen, people to because there's a lot of Native American Indians also that believe in Jesus Christ. And I had a roommate in my house for like 8 years that he would go up in res and preach Jesus Christ. And he was, from the Diné tribe. And, he rented a room out with me. And we, anyways, I just thought I'd share that because, I just think, there's an agenda out there that wants to take Jesus Christ out of everything, man, everything. At a new age, I think all this new age stuff, there wasn't no mention, or these ufologists, there was no mention about Jesus Christ. That was taboo.
You can tell sometimes when the people that do not believe in Jesus Christ how they look at me when I start talking about forgiving and a love foundation. They do not like when I talk about that. But hey, everybody has to choose their path in life, right? That's why it says the path is very narrow to make it into the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm telling you.
They get triggered, they get pissed off, like I guess they know at the time that I was talking about Jesus Christ and all that, then they consider myself their enemy because they don't believe in Jesus Christ. So they're more into the magic, into the witchcraft and necromancy.
Yeah.
I've dealt with those people all my life.
If you get those people, see, I was a person also that did not believe in Jesus Christ when I was at the sports store.
Yeah.
But I was not introduced with any kind of new age. I was a sports guy, but I think God purposely had but a girl came up to me and she said, because I rented a room, and the mother, she had a daughter. She was very promiscuous and stuff. And she came up to the sports store one day and said, "Scott, I'm saved." And I'm going like, "What's that mean?" I go like, and you should have seen her. Her hair, everything had changed in her, I mean, and it was like again, I look at this as something God was using somebody to come to me, and say something. And I had no clue. Well, what does that mean? I'm a sports guy and, I have a beer occasionally and I want to move out of California, that sort of thing. But she comes up to me and says that. I mean, again, it's like these little kind of like fingerprints that God puts in our lives that you look back on going like, what's the plan here on God, trying to save me, from destruction, so, my life has been like that. Like, not that I've been lucky, but it's kind of like, it's like there's a time, there's a time and place where, like, you know, the period of time comes when God says, okay, now it's time. And when it came to me, it's like I got wiped out. I mean, everything, job gone, everything. You name it. It was like, oh my God, everything was taken away, you know. And then it's like that's when you get on your knees, you know, and you go, and this happens to everybody. When you're left in the dumps, you most people, I believe, they get on their knees and all they can think of is God help me. They say those words, and then God starts working on you, you know, starts working. And that's happened to me. That happened to me. And it's like, oh my gosh. I lost everything. It's, and I was like, I was a good person and everything, like I didn't do anything wrong, but I think there's a period of time where, like, God is like, it's kind of like, and I think he knows your heart and your mind, because you lay there in bed going like, I want something different. Maybe I said, I want the truth. I want whatever. And, you want something greater in your life. And I think that's where, like God sends the angels or whatever happens. It says, okay, let's put them on this new path. And I think that happened to me, because I went through all that new age stuff. It all came to a dead end. All of it was a dead end, total dead. And, Abe, I had those books in my house, and we were talking about, I don't know if I told you that I got rid of all those books. I had all those new age books. I had all that attachment stuff that was on those books that you had mentioned, because I never talked to you about this. But I had all these things, these books and stuff. Abe, I took them all, throw them in the dumpster. I took all these books. I didn't take them to the book, to get money. I threw them all in the dumpster, because we had like a Bible study in my house, we were talking about it. And I didn't tell him in one of the hallways, I have like bookcases, and they're all full of these new age, all these different books, UFO, you name it, everything, all this stuff. Because back then they had bookstores. You could go and buy books at a cheap bookstore, for like $1.50, paperbacks, yep, all of that stuff. I got them all. Abe, I got all that stuff. And we had a dumpster in the alley. I threw all this stuff in the dumpster. I don't know if it did anything, but it was kind of like, one of these girls said, that, there's attachments. If you have these wrong books in your house, stuff like that, get rid of that. Just like, that Ouija board business that we talked about a long time ago. Get rid of it, man. Get rid of it. That thing is like, it's harboring, what you said, all that stuff. I didn't have any of that, but I did attend that to research that Ouija board stuff. And I found out, oh my God, this is real, but I went in there with, and this is before I even knew about this protection, but I did mention, Jesus, protect me about this stuff. I'm not sure about it, but, and I was learning about Jesus Christ. So I was actually going in to, to the devil's den, with kind of this naive attitude, like, Jesus, protect me. I don't know what this is all about, but I want to be protected about this stuff. So I went and researched this stuff, and I realized this is totally real. This is not something that, you can get real deep into this stuff. And I did leave it. So, yeah, Brenda, I got into all this different stuff, to be like, I want to find out about this stuff,
Yeah. It's always good to learn from different aspects of things, but don't stray from what is actually true. And don't let it consume you. Like, I've looked into a lot of different things, and some of the new age stuff, like, they believe that there is a high creator, Um, they don't call the creator God. They do believe that. And they do believe in a lot of things as far as this planet's energy is concerned, which that is kind of a good thing because, we that is what this planet is made of, Mother Nature. Well, not so much anymore because the government keeps messing with it, but
Yeah.
we're energy, our souls and our spirits, our energy, you know, they're not all the way fall off of the cliff, but some of them do take it just a little too far.
Well, some of these books, they call Jesus the Ascended Master. So when I heard that word, and it's all his pictures and stuff and these channelers and all this stuff, I go, okay, so he's this they call, his name is called in the New Age, Sananda. So, and again, I go back on my mind here, what I was researching, and I'm going like, okay, so this guy, his name is Jesus Christ, but the New Age Galactic Federation calls him Sananda.
Yeah, see.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I go, okay, so at least it got me on this track of who is Jesus Christ? Who, I
They
want to
call themselves the Galactic Federation, but they can even freaking travel to the moon.
yeah. Well, I wanted to find out, who is Jesus? Who is Jesus Christ? That's what led me. Like,
Man, bring me a moon rock.
$10,000 on a
It's gonna
bathroom.
be colored with glitter and shit with
Yeah.
rainbow color.
Yeah, and $1 million on a bathroom that's put together with cardboard and paper.
Well,
Get out of here.
at least, that New Age, I'm not putting it all down, but at least it got me to like research, like, who's Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
And that was to the New Age, people. And I'm going like, oh, Ascended Master, and all this, Michael, Archangel Michael and Archangel Gabriel. At least it gave me some kind of start into like this biblical, narrative about, stuff. And I went to library, and you can check out as many books as you want. And I would be, and I was married at the time, I would come home with like 10 books under my arm, walking in the house,
Well, and I had to do things a little different because if I read too much, like even when I read my Bibles and stuff, I read a couple pages and then I have to stop because I'll get a headache no matter what I use. But on top of that, making friends that were, in covens, plus my grandmother, there was no way I can ever deny. My grandmother was a witch. I know she was. I don't think she ever did anything bad. But so I had to learn from actual people and watching what they're doing. I did at one time buy a book called Wicca for Dummies, which it told me about the elements that they use and crystals. And so it taught me different things and what they use them for. So once I found out about crystals, then I went to other places to find out more about them. Some people say they're bad, some people say they're good. Some people say tarot card readings are bad. Some people say that they're good. I've seen tarot card readings where they just tell you, look, this is what you're destined to do. You need to find your footing. You have good things coming, but you have to work to get them. Well, that's all common sense stuff.
They're reading off the card what the card says,
Yeah.
But to give them a real reading, like the spiritual reading, to say something about them that only they know, now that's different because it'll be out of the spirit. But when the tarot card reading, they're just reading off every tarot card has something on it, or it's got a little picture or something. So
Right.
they're just repeating that. So there's nothing,
Yes.
spiritual there.
So
it's just them.
Right. So with a lot of stuff, you have to take a step back and look at it from the outside and see if it is spiritual. Okay. If it is a spiritual stuff and it's not bad that they're doing, then try to figure out what it is they're doing. Try to learn through their eyes what they're thinking or what they're doing with this, or, because I've seen some pretty bad stuff too. So, I mean,
Most of the dark witches and warlocks, what they seeking is power.
Yes,
fame and
actually,
fortune.
very
That's what they
much
seek.
so.
That's what they're seeking.
Yes.
Every single is it's about that's what they make deals, blood packs. They do sacrifices. You know, whether it's killing an animal, whatever to whatever they're worshiping, and this
Well,
is what they're about. They think that they have some kind of power. I run into these people.
and here's the thing about this, Scott. I heard you say that you went to a bunch of these conferences and stuff like that. Now, here's the problem I have with conferences. Okay. They set up a thing for somebody to come and tell their stories to the world, to tell people this, but it costs you so much to get tickets to go, and you have to pay for these hotels and you have to pay for this. So the person who is setting this up gets a majority of all that money that's collected. Okay. So it's another money thing. Why not have it somewhere at a venue where it doesn't cost anybody to come? You can bring a tent and camp out, or an RV, hang out. People can go and buy their own food. I mean, because everybody eats different stuff, but they don't do that. It's money, 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 money.
Well, talking about authors, because I would go to these New Age bookstores, and the author would come in and talk about their books, that they wrote. Now, I end up researching all this New Age books. It's $1 billion industry, books. Billion. Can you imagine? $1 billion industry. And these authors, they write these books, channeling whatever, and then they're paid by the publisher. They fly in and they go to a New Age bookstore, and then all these people come to the bookstore, including Scott. It was free. You go in there.
Including Scott.
I like everything I love is free.
There's nothing wrong with supporting an author and having books and reading. Reading is knowledge, regardless of what you're reading, except for a satanic Bible. Y'all stay away from that. That's too much knowledge you don't want.
But I wanted to find out and a lot of women, they're writing these books, women. I think the majority, probably 80-90% were women.
Authors
that would write, channeling or UFOs or abduction, whatever. Okay. But again, no dog man. Never heard of dog man back then. But, then you bought their book. And occasionally I would buy the book, and stuff. And, but, I was on this path, kind of like, the Holy Spirit leading you, to learn about all this stuff. And then I'm the kind of person that I put everything up on a shelf. And like you said, Brenda, I don't take it to heart. I don't get immersed in it because I want to keep moving. I want to keep moving.
To learn more.
I want to keep moving to and that's when I noticed there's something going on where who is moving me to learn all this stuff? You start to introspectively look at yourself.
Look, now they say that if you ask the Father to show you the right way, okay, He's not going to show you anything until you start moving. So here it is. Knowledge. Okay. Knowledge is what you seek, Scott.
Yeah.
So where do you find knowledge? Everywhere you look, and things that you read, sometimes things that you watch, you just have to make your decision to decipher the good from the bad. Okay.
Yeah.
But you'll keep going because you want that knowledge. You want to learn different things. And there is nothing wrong with that at all, really.
No, I agree 100% with you. But then try to discuss it with your loved ones or forget it. Forget it. It's
you got to follow your spirit. The spirit will guide you, man. The Heavenly Father will guide you. He's the ultimate teacher. Yep. Like I said, I think I said last time, when I go into the kingdom of heaven, or He blesses us with something, whose reward do you want? Do you want the reward of that author? Do you want the reward of the Pope? Do you want the reward of a saint, or do you want what the Heavenly Father can bless you is just to have a relationship with Him, spiritual relationship, and He can bless you with everything, or a lot more that somebody is just working for a title or whatever. He blessed you with a lot more, you
That's
know.
like with me. I I purchased the Geneva Bible, the Ethiopian Bible, the Book of Enoch. I have a regular Bible, and this Bible, this Bible is, it is a very old study Bible that they used to use for pastors, and it has the sides where it tells you in Hebrew certain words, and then it's transferred into English. It has New and Old Testament in it. It's really big. Now, what I will do is I will switch. I will read something in like this Bible. I will move over to the Geneva Bible to match it up. I end up learning different things and the way different things are phrased in these books and different meanings. Um, and a lot of, the Ethiopian Bible. Now I enjoy that Bible. I do, because there are also a lot of things in that were taken out of the regular Bible. So it makes a lot more sense to me. It breaks it down to where I can understand it. So, I'm gaining knowledge by switching to these different books, and I'll have somebody tell me, oh, you should never read the Book of Enoch. Well, I'm sorry. I grew up with people telling me you should never read the Book of Revelations. Well, if it wasn't meant to be read, why is it in there? So, you learn by doing different things because you have your own mind.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. The Father has taught me this. Always look for yourself. Every time I see something or hear something that people are talking about, I always hear in the back of my head, always go and learn for yourself.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay. You can't agree with everybody. You don't have to agree with everybody. People don't have to agree with me. Abe don't have to agree with me. I don't have to always agree with Abe. That don't mean I don't like him. I love Abe to death. I think he is spot on, man. He's pretty good at a lot of things. Josh Turner and Nelly are the same way, So it's like you don't have to always agree, but here's the thing. If there's something, say there's something that Abe's talking about and I don't agree with it, I'm not going to come up here and tell Abe, oh no, you're wrong. This is like the, I'm not going to do that. There ain't no way. Why? Because this is his show. He has ran his show as long as he has on his own to do this. Well, he had Jesse. Jesse still comes and goes, and we all miss him. But what I am going to do is I'm going to listen to what Abe said. Then I'm going to go back in my stuff and read and say, oh, I see what he's saying there, you know. But there are a lot of people that will jump up here or even get in the chat that will argue with Abe in what he believes in. The New Age people, I don't agree with a lot of the stuff that they agree with, but I do see some different aspects with them that kind of bleed into, the belief. And here's the problem. And I'm going to tell you guys what I figured out. If you have religion, you're going to have problems. If you have faith, you have no problem. And you should always remember that religion was man-made. Faith was done by the Father and the Son. So I always keep that in mind. And New Age is one of those things that's a man-made religion. Sorry, it is. But some of the spiritual aspects of it was something we grew up with that we knew from God and from Jesus.
They just want to put pieces together to try to make it something,
Right.
and they want to leave Jesus Christ out of the equation, or the
Yes.
Heavenly Father, the Our Father, the prayers. They want to leave all that behind. I
Yes.
mean, God is the Creator. He's the beginning, the end, the Alpha, the Omega. I mean,
Yep.
right there. People into Scientology is already telling you who he is. He's everywhere. He's
Yeah.
the
He's a
beginning
great
and the
idea.
end.
And I figured out that all the time that I grew up with people saying don't read the book of Revelations, I found out why. It's because in the book of Revelations, when it comes to the end, God wins. So that's why they don't want you to read it. That's why I grew up with them not wanting me to read it. Now everybody reads everything. So we thank God we have people who think for themselves. You know, there's too many people that follow the strict religion of do this, do that, do this, do that. Well, then you think for yourself and you stick to certain guidelines. You don't overstep those, but you're still thinking for yourself and doing what you probably should have been doing all along.
You gotta, how should I say, practice what you preach.
Yeah. Hi, Lawrence.
Basically,
Hi, Andres.
is you gotta follow suit of what you're saying because the unseen spiritual world here has been here. It's been
Yes,
here amongst us.
that's right.
Yeah,
For a very
there's a
long
lot
time.
of distractions in this world, as it is. They
Yeah.
want to distract you from you having the. Okay, let me ask you all a question. How many people take like 5 minutes out of their time in a day to worship the Heavenly Father?
Me?
5 minutes out of the day.
Yeah. I take longer than that actually.
I'm saying, but the how many? There's because some people that don't know, the
I
Heavenly
don't
Father, they don't.
I don't think there's a lot because they're so tied up in what they're doing in life that they don't think about it. Now, I'm not a very busy person. I really am not. I don't have a lot that I do. So I will sit and I'll read some and, I'll sit and I'll do some prayers and, what have you. But there are people that wake up in the morning, they go get their coffee, they go to work, they don't even think about it. They have their whole entire work day, they go to lunch, they get off of work and think, oh my gosh, I got to take
Wasn't Charles Manson in your ager?
he was a
Charles
tortured
Manson,
he was a tortured child and he was mind fractured.
but he was from the New Age, right?
He was from someplace. I'm not sure it was New Age. He was more hippie.
He thought he was the god.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was real big into like manifesting and
Right.
he didn't have very nice words about Christ.
Although he was right when he did say a lot of things about our government and things that were going on, but that's because he knew.
Right.
But yeah, he was
Thursday.
yeah, he was not very big on praying and God and Jesus and all of that, because he did think that he was put on this earth for people to follow because he was some kind of a god. He had some real big issues.
Yeah, he didn't even do anything. He caused other people to do
Yes.
whatever,
As
He
What
was
was it?
handler.
truly like a cult leader for real.
He was a handler.
Mm-hmm. And he is run by demons.
Yep.
He doesn't even probably know it.
Well, I'm sure he knows now, seeing he passed away. So.
Oh, I didn't know. When did he pass away?
Oh God.
It's
Been a while.
Yeah, I didn't know if he was still incarcerated or.
Wasn't it? I think it was sometime last year. I think.
No kidding.
Well, I'm going to chime in for a second. From what I understand, he was tied into the Laurel Canyon music business where Jim Morrison and the Mamas and the Papas and a lot of the folk establishment was there. And he lived with the Beach Boys and, but he was, I think, Brenda, that I think he understood the CIA or the government connection with mind control.
Yep, because he was in it.
And he
was put through that.
I think
he didn't have no internet to get that information from, so something.
Yeah, he was put through that.
Yeah, but I think he knew the Hollywood scene and how these people could be manipulated money wise. So one thing led to the next about his cult with the girls and and the Beatles, the White Album, he even the Beach Boys had mentioned like he writes really good songs, and stuff. And I don't know if they recorded any, but he kind of mooched off these influential music stars.
Well, and Scott, I don't know if you know this, but his family sold him into that programs. His family sold him into him. They really didn't have much to do with him. They got rid of him. They took money and gave him to where he was put through mind control, and which is the CIA. CIA ran mind control. And so that's why he was hanging out with all these upper people. And
was it the people that would come get the kids out of class because they just
yes.
a certain...
Yeah, that's the start of it. That is what determines people's intelligence, hand and eye coordination, and different stuff like that. And then they would take these kids out of classes and put them in these programs. So that was like a start of it. So if he wrote music, and he was pretty talented in particular things, they needed him and they used him. Any kid that showed any type of intelligence, they needed those kids. So that's why he knew a lot of the singers, and he was in that whole entire music industry. Some Hollywood also, because he was in those programs.
Yeah, so this whole music industry is related to satanic, the manifestation of all that too. So not to get into that too much, but that Laurel Canyon, if you just look that up about all these these music stars, it was like a groupie hippie kind of thing in the counterculture, and all this culture was changing, and there were people in there that you could make big money, Capitol Records and all these record companies and stuff, and they were probably also in cahoots with the government. Who knows, right? So these stars that you think like you think these, and a lot of people do worship these music stars, like, oh, I love Bob Dylan. Oh, I love Jimi Hendrix. They worship these people like they're gods, and, it's kind of like, what does the Bible say about all this stuff too? I mean, they put the pants on the same way you do, and stuff.
Yep.
And it's like, they're no better than you, and I was always like that, Brenda, anyways. Like, I guess, Abe, that shirt you got on, no fear. I don't know if it's no fear, but it's kind of like,
no fear when you have Jesus Christ in your life, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Or being led by the Holy Spirit, which, I mean, I was led by the Holy Spirit, but I didn't even know it. That's the thing, until later in life. But as I look back, but all these people, all these shows on TV, all that stuff. Now, I know a lot of it's fun. It's good to listen to and everything. But there's also, the hidden hand that's running the scene behind the scenes, on all that industry, movie industry, everywhere, the power.
That really, they started falling apart when actors started like dropping, taking their own matters in their own hands, like Robin Williams or whatever, however it may be, you started seeing that they are actually have, it seems like they have a harder life than what we do. It's like they have all this,
David Carradine.
they're just depressed and
Yeah.
they're getting in trouble, getting DUIs, they're on drugs, they're going to Diddy parties.
Yeah,
All
but
jokes aside,
they
all
could
jokes
be-
aside, it's
they could be
terrible.
finding out. They could
I'm
be
gonna-
finding out about the industry,
Yeah.
and the industry takes them
Exactly.
out. That's what they're doing.
Exactly.
They
I'm
had
gonna step away for a few minutes, Abe.
I wouldn't be able to
underneath their
handle it.
homes.
I'll be right-
Underneath the homes of the actors.
Yes.
There was tunnels.
Tunnels, yes.
Human
I'm gonna
tra-
step
small
away
trafficking.
for a few minutes. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take off. I got to get up early too, Abe,
All right, brother.
tomorrow.
Well, thank
So
you
I'm
for
gonna
being
sign
on.
off. Yeah, I'm gonna sign off because I got 3 things I got to do tomorrow. Or got to get up early. So I'm gonna sign off. So you guys have a good
All
one.
right, brother.
Peace out. Thank you. Later.
Good night. God bless you.
All right, man. Thanks.
See you later.
See
God
ya.
bless you.
Thanks.
Bye. Take care, man.
See ya.
Yeah, we already hit the 2-hour marker. Wow. Time flies. I was just listening to everything that they were saying. Just listening, Witchcraft or demonic exposure makes them believe they can get power. They can get power.
Yeah, they really think they can win. They really are deluded to think that they're gonna get away with this. Because if not, they hold each other accountable, and if one goes down, the other goes down. That's how they work. But
But spiritually, the Heavenly Father is a protector and avenger, and 7 times foe comes their way. Especially if they're trying to wish or do bad towards people, it's going to go back their way eventually. It's
that's
not
why
good.
a lot of these
how they-
actors are looking really weird these days, man. They're not. Something's going on, and it's not just simply aging or plastic surgery. It's like a lot of these people are looking really skinny. They're looking completely different. Some might be even replaced because, well, they might have said something and they were able to clone them. I mean, they have these cloning programs and stuff. But a lot of that stuff is a lot of these entities are taking this. It's either they're taken from these people or it's because they're not drinking blood or maybe it's because they are and their body is, because the human body cannot drink blood. Blood is devastating on the human body. I mean, that causes all kinds of problems. There's too much iron in it. It causes, like, if you drink blood over a long period of time, your throat will close up.
What do you think about those people think that they're vampires, man?
Well, whenever they get some kind of massive kidney failure and organ failure, and their body starts shutting down, they'll learn.
Did they need normally blood transfusions when some people, when they have their levels are too low, they need blood transfusions and stuff, but it's when was it the kidney that gives out or the liver? Which is the one that cleanses the blood?
The kidneys filter and the liver. Wait,
Yeah,
the liver
it's the
filters.
kidneys.
What the hell does the liver do?
That's for
Processing, like metabolizing. Kidney filters and the liver metabolizes your food. Also regenerates. So, if you were losing blood, that sounds like your kidneys, like kidney failure, maybe. But also, too, it could be something spiritual. Something could be vampiric. It could be all one. It's all that sickness and stuff is one and the same.
Witch doctors in the pagan countries eat human organs and drink the blood to gain their power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you eat the eyes, it makes your eyes stronger. You eat the heart, makes your heart stronger. You eat the lungs, it makes your lungs stronger. You eat the brain, makes them smarter. You consume them, you take on their strength.
That's
Kinda like,
cannibalism, man.
I mean, there's this guy. I don't know if you guys know who the Liver King is, but he was eating bull testicles, and he says eating them increases testosterone and also is very good for your bull or something. I don't know. I just don't. I'm good on that. That's just,
Goes on like
even eating brains, eating like animal brains, that can cause a lot of prions. That can cause a lot of neurological degenerative diseases. That is why if you consume brain, you can get what prion is like messed up protein or whatever. You get a prion, brain prions or whatever, you're screwed, man. Consuming shit like that, no good. We're not supposed to consume human flesh. I mean, even like I don't know if it's the same with like animal brains, but I know if like the human side of it, if you eat human brains, you're on your road to a neurological degenerative disease with prions and all that.
So you say you had an experience, man, where you went into an investigation?
No, I wasn't even investigating. I was just out camping with my dog, going
You say you
fishing.
seen the shadow figure.
I seen something. It was big. It was very, very big.
Did your dog sense it?
My dog did sense something, but whenever I seen it, thank God she was snoring. She was asleep. I was afraid she was going to wake up and start barking. It was very odd. I'll get to the story, but first, the night before, I was getting off work, and a friend of mine that I work with, we've been working together for a long time at like a couple different jobs, so he kind of knows some things, and he kind of knows my story and whatnot. Pretty much accepts it because I know his story too. So we'll break it down. I got caught in the middle of a generational demon and my friend. Apparently, after, well, I'm just gonna tell the story because it's crazy, and it just gets deeper, and then the next day it rolls into something else, to where God had led me to where I would go camping, to go into the most past my camping spot, keep going down the road, and I pulled into a random spot I never been to, and it was like a little parking lot with this little teeny area that cuts down in to go fishing, and there's like a one little picnic table there. Just a little round area. I took out the binoculars. I started looking at birds and stuff and looking across the lake and sitting there with my dog. And I'm like, man, and I wasn't even fishing or anything. I was just checking it out. And then God put somebody in my path, and I need prayers for this person. And hopefully I can maybe get him more involved, because he is military. He is going through a lot, and it kind of hits home. It kind of hits big time home, and to the point where this person opened up to me and said that he wants to commit suicide and doesn't want to live, and just wants. All right, here I go. And then after that night is when I had the experience with whatever I seen. So it was pretty eventful weekend. I didn't sign up for it, and it seems like it was everybody else's crap and not mine. But see, now that we're at a certain level, God is starting to put me into spots, and I'm starting to notice that there's a broader range of people out there that need help, not just people that are getting trafficked or ritualistically abused, or they're going through some kind of oppression demonically. This is like God is not putting people in my path that like I can do something for these people and set them free. I don't, it's crazy. So here we go. Got off of work. I took my friend to his house. We were talking, having a pretty dang good time. he's into fishing. He has all this fishing stuff. He gave me some stuff. We were talking about starting to go canoeing. So that's something I'm going to get into. I'm going to buy a freaking canoe and go out and canoe, tie the stuff onto my van, because the van has a thing to tie a nice little, not kayak, not a canoe. Sorry. Like one that you can actually like get in and fish, and you have a bunch of room for gear, like one of those expensive ones. That's what I'm looking to get. And then he got me riled up for that. And we're just, as we're talking and the night progresses, he started telling me about like, you know, it came up because I guess he didn't know. He knows about my wife, but he didn't know that I had a son that passed away in my arms. And that like really bothered him. He has kids too. And he's really involved with his kid, like super awesome dad, like, so this kind of like really screwed him up. I'm like, dude, it's cool because he wasn't meant for this world. It's a whole big thing. I'm like, it's all good. So we got to talking about his family, and I guess he started going, and I'm not going to get onto what he told me about out of respect, but he told me about the situation between him and his mother. It's crazy because it really reminded me a lot like mine. And in the end, I would just say that something that was inside her took her from her family and left a bitter taste on everybody's mouth, because it was as if she didn't even want her family there. Like she was disgusted seeing them when she was getting ready to pass away. And the person that, the caregiver, who she told not to give this information out, but she did anyways, happened to be my friend's ex-girlfriend, which was weird. So she had given him a call, blah, blah, blah. They went down, and he had just wrestled with all this because she was like, the way he described her, she was all about the grandchildren. She was super cool. And then out of the blue, she like changed. But this is what I didn't know. His father wasn't his real father. It was his stepfather. I guess he found out his stepfather was a high-level practicing warlock. Okay. And everything he told me, I said, dude, you buried the lead. You know what happened? It was that guy. It was what he was doing that caused her to be in the state that she was in, because I don't think that they were together. I think they ended up breaking it off. And I think what happened is he must have done something. But also, I think it's much deeper than that, because I felt the demon was there. Okay, so when we were talking about this, and then we were talking about my mom, and he was telling me that like he was going through this ancestry.com stuff, and because he thought that he was Italian or whatever, and he's like, turns out I'm not. I'm like, I bet you are Germanic, or you are Slavic. I'm sorry, you're like you got Norse in your blood. You're Viking, and you got German in you. And he's like, yep. And I could have told you that. You're tall. I could see that in you, So I said, you got a little bit of Native American in you too. And he didn't, I don't know if he told me what kind, I can't remember, but we was talking, and then like, as this went down and we were talking, he had gotten a text from the, which is weird. He gotten a text from the, what's the place that does the dang freaking family tree stuff? What are they called? Does anybody know?
Like the contact
No, whenever you go and get your DNA and your family tree, what's that company called that does that? That you get your like entire like, see your family background, trace your family back.
No idea, man.
But you guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, we
one of those things. And I guess they messaged him, and this is mid while we were talking, and this is why he like started getting real bugged out. He said the woman texted him, and that's weird that she texted him from that company. No, not 26andMe. It's one of the first ones. It doesn't matter. And then he said that she said her name was Michelle. She said, "Hey, is this Kim's boy? This is Michelle calling from uh whatever place." And I was like, "Bro, that's weird because we were just both talking about our moms, and I know it's probably like, nothing's a coincidence, but something's going on here. My mom's name is Michelle. So why would this person from that place say, 'Hey, is this Kimmy's boy JT? This is Michelle. I can't remember her last name. Um, it was just out of pocket. It was weird and it happened when we were both talking about this." And I'm like, "Dude, something big's going on." But we would find out later on, really, that it was somebody. Crazy story that this guy has. I don't know the whole story, but I told him if he wants me there by his side, we can figure out what's going on, and we could take a trip wherever he out of state, to find out more about his family lineage. Is pretty much how this ended up. So as we're talking about this, the next thing you know, something comes in the room. The energy shifts. He feels it. I feel it. And we both looked at each other, and I was like, "Whoa, do you feel that presence, that pressure that just came into your living room?" He's like, "Oh my gosh, I was just going to ask you." He's like, "Wow, what is that?" I'm like, "I don't know, man. I don't know what that is, but it is not cool, man." And I started rebuking it, whatever. And throughout me trying to get up and leave and us finishing the conversation, this thing was, I can see in the spirit, it was leering over me. Okay. It was leering over me as if I told him before I left, this thing is either wants me gone out of this house right now because things are coming to light, or it's something that's going to follow me home and try to think it's going to do something, which, sorry, but you ain't going to come home with me no matter what. And if you're gonna ride in the van is blessed. It's been holy oiled. I pray over it every time I get in it. Heavenly crosses over all the windows. There's iron spikes at every entryway. I just full precaution, and that's mostly because I just have my dog. And if anything happened to my dog, I wouldn't be all right. So it's like that's the biggest fear out there when I go and do stuff is to keep my animal safe. And I can't leave hardly without her. It's a pain in the butt if I do because she gets mad at me. So usually I don't get to investigate. I just get to go out and just enjoy, going out and camping. And it's like I just take her out and I have fun. If I had like
kicked me off and then came back on.
I've seen that you switch spots, man. So everybody whose birthday is February 3rd is down here.
Wait, hold on. You said February?
Yeah, 3rd. Me and Abe have the same birthday.
Well, that's a good guess.
I mean, you can't make it up, man. You can't make it up. It's probably one of the reasons why I was attracted to Abe's channel, and the fact that he loves gemstones and I love gemstones. Pretty February 30 right there with the gemstones. But anyways, this thing was making me sick. It was putting a lot of pressure on me, regardless of me rebuking it, because this was not my place. I didn't have authority at this house. Okay. It had nothing to do with me. At that moment when I spoke those words and it wasn't leaving, it was leering over me. I knew this was something after his family bloodline. And I said, "Dude, you got kids, man." So I said, "Your kids wouldn't have to be 6, 7, 8 years old, right?" And he's like, 7. I'm like, "Yeah, yep, there you go." I was like, "What you got is something bad. Okay. What you got is something that wants to destroy your family and make sure that your kids fall too. And your bloodline crumbles." So that dude's definitely taking revenge and sent something. I don't know what kind of power this thing had. I wasn't impressed with it, but it was pretty strong. and it just didn't have the right. I didn't have the legality to tell it to leave his house. It had to be up to him. And I don't know. I don't think he's really too much of a believer as much as I am in Christ. I don't know what his faith is. I just know that I don't shy away when I talk about Jesus Christ openly. I don't care who I'm around. Yet, that's the first name I called upon at that house when I felt that thing. In the name of Jesus, get out. And I mean, so I left. Nothing, nothing. I left. When I left his house, I was confused. I couldn't hardly pull down the driveway. I couldn't figure out hardly how to get home. I'm like, dude, I'm in a state of confusion. I'm like, wow.
Is that you?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I had to sit down on the floor at one point on his front door and say, "Hey, dude," I'm like, I'm loving talking, but this thing, it won't get off me. It's like I can see it. It's just leering over me, like standing over me, like forcing me out, forcing me out. I mean, if it could have put a hand on me, it would have. But anyways, this would then lead up to what happened the next day, because while that's going on, my good battle buddy Brandon, the one that was on your show, Abe, I called him the next day. I had gotten me and my dog woke me up. My dog is the one who got me up out of bed actually that day, which is, if I never got up at the time that I did, I would have never ran into who I ran into, who God sent me there for, which is very interesting. Which throughout the whole thing, I think that was what this whole adventure I went on was for. Anyways, was this guy, was this veteran, and his story is dude. I don't think I've cried uncontrollably that long since my wife passed away about this guy I don't even know. I mean, we hugged. It's powerful. I'll get there. So I go down to this spot I've never been to, kind of about 40 minutes away from me, and it's called Gaskill Park. It's close to Atwater, Ohio. Atwater is famous for being on YouTube for a lot of different channels. Vic Cundiff is one of them, but there's other people that have. Her name is Melanie, I think, that tells a story about the Atwater Dogmen. And Deer Creek, where I go, is not but like 5 minutes down the road from there. Not even that. Like it's real close. In fact, there's 3 reservoirs. There's which is funny enough, like the Weirdness Triangle, because not only has pale crawlers been sighted down in that area, but a lot of Bigfoot, and I guess a crazy amount of dogman sightings, especially along these railroad tracks. So my whole plan was to just check out the Porter and Virginia Road where this woman had her encounter. I'm like, wow, it's like not even that rural of an area. It's kind of like in a neighborhood, but the town itself, it's a lot of woods around. Okay, a lot of woods. I didn't realize, living here all my life, that just 40 minutes down the road from me was just like that much of a, like, I guess, because Berlin Lake's down there, and that's down where the military base is, where apparently they took the Giant of Kandahar when they took it to Ohio. So, I mean, I didn't know it was that close to all that. So this is kind of like, what would that be? I think this is south. So, yes. Yep. So it's about, so this is getting towards southern Ohio, because I live more up north towards Akron or Cleveland, I guess, the Canton. So anyways, I'm on this new place. I take my dog for a walk. We're walking around. I think I went to the wrong trail and we got off trail, and it was a pain in the butt. So I pulled away. There's these houses down there that were really Victorian. They were totally built back in the early 1800s. I mean, they were like vintage Victorian freaking houses. Nice looking too down there. Kind of a real historical looking area. And around that area too is a lot of Indian burial grounds, and it was a lot of Indian land too. And I'm not sure what tribe or anything, but I'm assuming a little bit of Cherokee and maybe I'm not sure. Anyways, I finally found the main trail. I didn't realize how big this trail was, so I decided to call my friend JT, and I started talking with him, and just made sure he was okay. And then after I got off the phone with him, I seen my friend Brandon try to call me, so I called Brandon. I said, "Brandon, guess what happened? Some crazy stuff happened last night. Yada yada yada." He's like, "Dude," he's like, "Let me stop you right there." He's like, "Last night around the time you told me, I was being attacked in my sleep over and over and over again by demonic forces." He didn't really go into detail. He just said that he knew what was happening. He was being attacked by something, like something was messing him up. And this is while all this other stuff's going on. Then as me and him are on the phone, my dog stops. She doesn't move, her ears go back, and she doesn't make a sound. Okay. And I'm trying to get her to go and she won't go. And then all of a sudden I'm like, well, so the trail, as it goes up, it starts going up like this and it veers off to the left. And there's a bunch of brush kind of covering where the trail goes. So you can't see what's up over the hill. I was like, "Brandon," I'm like, "Dude." And when I stopped, you felt it. There is something up there waiting for me. And my dog does not want to go further. And I feel it. I'm going to turn around now. And I'm like, as soon as that happened, I start praying. I start praying for my friend. I was like, whatever is going on, you can't do nothing to me or my friend Brandon or JT or anything, anybody, whatever is going on, I rebuke it. And me and my dog we're scrambling to get out of there. And then as I'm walking on, me and Brandon, we lose contact, and the signal was just not very good up there. So I get back to the van and I try to call him back all day. I couldn't get a hold of him. So I just left it go. So that was weird. So I was like, okay, I'm going to leave that spot and go to Deer Creek now. So I got to Deer Creek, but driving past the reservoir, something told me, keep going. Just keep going. Well, but why? I'm here. Okay, why not? Let's see what's down here, I guess. I've drove down there a couple times. Let's just do it again. And I seen a little place to turn off to the left. It's a little parking spot, and then it goes a little downhill. And it's just a little area, and there's a picnic table there. And I'm like, how cute! It's like a little single family fishing spot out in the out in the cut here. So I parked, and I go down there, and I look. I have binoculars in my car from like when my grandpa was in World War II or Vietnam or whatever. They're old. I took them out. I wanted to give them a try. And I look and I start watching the birds fly over the lake. I'm like, okay, I see why people bird watch. I'm like, this is freaking cool. You can see them up close and follow them. And I'm like, this is actually really cool. So I'm sitting there with my dog and I'm getting into it. Not only am I looking at that, but I'm trying to look for deer. And then all of a sudden my dog starts barking a little bit. And I look and I hear a car starts pulling backwards in. I'm like, oh, okay, well, car's pulling in. I guess it's time to pack it up and let's get going to the reservoir so I can get some fishing in, right? Or at least go hiking, because honestly, I did about more hiking than I did fishing, which is amazing what I even caught because I did more hiking. And I can show you guys a video. The fish are like that big. Nice bass out there. Good fishing out there. And I got to watch my dog fall in the lake. She had no idea what to think about seeing a fish. She wouldn't let me fish because she kept barking at the water after that. It's funny. So this is the hardest part. This is where I might get a little emotional because it hurts, man. It hurts. Especially if you're a veteran and you're going through anything like this, and really you're just looking. They're screaming for help. And it seems like everyone around you is your friend, but they're your worst enemy. And you just wish you had somebody around you that was actually there for you. So anyways, this guy, he gets out of the car first. He was a taller blonde person, had his shirt off. And then I seen a female get out the car, and she goes to the back and she opens the door and she gets a little girl. She had to have been like four years old, man. So they come down. He's like, "Hey, you fishing?" I'm like, "No, I'm just hanging out here with my dog. Just pulled in, getting ready to get going down to the reservoir. Wasn't staying very long." He's like, "Oh man," he says, "I just wanted to ask because I was gonna spend time with this girl here, and just have some alone time." I'm like, for sure, man." He's like, um, we started talking, and when we started talking, we told me he was in the military, and man, I'm not gonna get into the whole conversation because it's a little not you know not for public. It's just because I don't I I might be talking to this guy later on in life. Like, I don't want to say anything that is not my business, but I will say this: he said he was in the middle of a divorce. Um, that his wife, who's divorcing him, is won't let him see his kids. He's going through hell. He's really highly addicted to painkillers and Xanax, or barbiturates, or anti-anxiety depression medication. Um, and I said, "Man, that's no good, man. That stuff. It doesn't work, dude. It just makes it worse." And he's like, "You don't understand." He's like, "I just want to die. I just want to commit suicide." This is a man who doesn't know me, telling me, getting to the raw grit of things, telling me what is going on in his life and how he just wants to die and commit suicide and he's not happy. And then I seen why he was with this girl, he's trying to fill in a void. But as we were talking, this little girl, the daughter, she goes to reach for my dog and pet my dog. And now my dog kind of ran from her and hid behind this man, not from the little girl, but because the mom was trying to go behind the little girl to get her because she didn't know if my dog was friendly. I didn't say, "Oh yeah, she, go ahead and pet her." This is all just like happening. So, good on her, because even though my dog is a friendly dog, my dog sensed something coming out of that woman, and so did I. And that's why my dog was barking when that car was pulling in. I told you, man, my dog don't bark at nothing unless it's a UPS truck, or if she doesn't feel right about somebody, or if you're pissing her off. She'll let you know when something's going down, man. And she hid behind this man, not behind me, but behind this guy. So right there, it told me a lot about this man. And not only that, but he reminded me of my freaking wife and the pain that she was going through. And I can just see that the spiritual battle this man was dealing with. And I started telling him, he said, "I'm just trying to find friends that don't do drugs, man. And you seem really cool." And I told him what I was. I told him that I'm into trying to get into helping or doing something physical to help, whether it be monetary support or actually looking for these people. I want to do something about child ucking, whatever. And he said, "I've always wanted to do something like that." He said, "Let's talk about it." I said, "Okay." I gave him my freaking messenger information. I said, "Just be warned, you're going to see I'm into a lot of strange things, but it's not strange. It's, what's really happening." He's like, "Believe me, man." He's like, "I know." And he's like, let's talk about that too. And I'm like, all right. So we hugged, man. We hugged it out. He cried on my shoulder. Man, I left that place, man. I friended him right away, and then I went to the marina and I parked, and I couldn't hold it together, dude.
Did
I
you pray for
couldn't hold
him?
it together,
Did
dude.
you pray for him and told him that he's not alone, that Jesus Christ is with him?
No, I didn't keep it. I didn't, because I could tell that I was trying to leave just as like not fast, but I was just trying to give him. It just took me to a place where it kind of was like PTSD, but not, because not only did it remind me of my wife, but right in that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, God just put somebody in my life that I could be the wall between life and death, just for being there for this man, just for keeping in contact with him, uh, and maybe getting the information out and having people pray for him, or maybe getting him involved in some communities, or maybe actually getting with him and actually talking about what we were talking about.
Does it go
Uh,
to the VA?
I don't know. I've only spoke to him a few times in the past couple days, but we're keeping in contact. I was
Because they
actually
got programs in the VA for that, for PTSD. They can
I
help
think
them
at
out.
this point, I think he's self-medicating at this point. I think what he's going through with his kids and losing his family, and whatever he went through. I don't know. I don't know if he went to battle. I don't know if he's seen war. Um, I do know that I do know a person. Not gonna get into the story, but their significant other was in the military, and he was over in Africa around the time when the blood diamond stuff was going on. So pretty sure this dude killed kids and had to, because they were armed and they were going, it's just how they were, man. It's crazy, dude. But anyways, I don't know. All I know is he's about he's about my age, maybe 10 years younger. Um, but I could see in his face. I can see in his face the pain, man. I could see he was just reaching out. He didn't want to die. But he wants to live. He just doesn't want to go through what he's being dragged through, dude. And he feels hopelessness. And I can almost probably ask him, "Hey, how old are your children?" And he'd probably say the same thing, either five to seven. It seems like that's like a running pattern with these people that I know and that have kids. Is that's usually how old a child that they have that looks as if they have a peculiar destiny about them. And so that's been something I've always um, kept an eye out for. But anyways, um, I I try to shake it off the best I could. So I went to go out and I went to throw my pole in the water, and I wonder if I can get this to work. But maybe I bet you I can't because it died. So I'll go back. I'll come back to that in a little bit, just to break the tension up a little bit. But anyways, it starts. I catch a couple fish. Um, it starts to become a little closer to dark at this point. And it seemed like the crowd that was there only dropped down to one vehicle, and then that vehicle dropped down to no vehicles, and it seemed like me and my dog were there by ourselves. Now, if you know like where the reservoir, what it looks like, when you go to the reservoir to get there, you have to turn left off the road you're on, and there's big giant pine trees on both sides of you, and you go down the road. There's some speed bumps, and then it opens up. And once you get there, there's like the marina on the right, and then there's this big giant area with trees and like picnic tables and family settings and stuff and bathrooms and whatnot. And there's a park. Um, so at night, that place becomes a little bit different because you're enclosed, and if you need to get out quick, you're not close to the main road. You have to go through speed bumps to get the hell out of there. And if you survive getting out of there, you got to continue making it through some rural road to get to the bridge, and then the main road, which takes you then to the highway, which then will take me back to Canton. So I looked at my dog and I said, "Hey, I think it's time if we're gonna camp out for the night, because I really wanted to fish in the morning." Um, since I caught these two monster fish, and I was like, dude, this is like, I didn't even need to go fishing anymore because I felt that the second one was so big that was enough fishing for the next 2 weeks for me. Pretty, I guess. And I'm not even bragging, or I'm not joking. It was unexpected. The fish I caught, the first fish was big, and I said, I bet you the second one will be bigger. And I knew that guy, I knew God was good every time I did that, because he took that pain and sorrow away from me and allowed me to think clear about things. And I had at some point before it even got dark, I had made a video. I'm gonna put that out online whenever I edit some stuff, and it was because there was these crows that flew up from the forest across the lake for me. A whole bunch of freaking waterfowl started coming up from this one spot and then coming my way, and you could just hear these crows going off and circling this area. So I'm like, I wonder what's there. I wonder if it's either got to be coyote, or it's got to be some crazier stuff than coyote, or it's got to be a black bear, because I'm pretty sure there's black bear up there. I just found that out today, actually. A buddy of mine, we're talking, and he said, yeah, there's black bear up there, dude. I'd be careful going around up there. I'm like, well, that's good to know. Good to know. Didn't realize that, but more coyote than anything. Seeing the black bear up there is few and far between. You'd have to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, I guess, because they're more down south or down to the like Ohio River, going up into Pennsylvania and all that stuff. Because once you get there, then you start getting into your bigger things. So, anyways, I decided to go to the gas station, probably about 10 minutes down the road, and I was listening to a podcast, and I had my windows down, my radio was blaring, my dog is happy, her tongue's hanging out her mouth, it's dark. We're just riding, having a great time, and the smell of the springtime in the night and the sounds of the spring peepers and everything it's just so relaxing, man, that ride was like a roller coaster to me and to my dog as well, until to the left of me, with my radio blaring and everything, you hear this big snap, as if something took a freaking limb this big and just snapped it. It was very, very loud. I'm like, I turned my radio down, looked at my dog. Her ears went like this, and she hunkered down, and she looked at me with these big eyes, and she wasn't happy no more. And I looked over. I didn't hear nothing move or anything like that. I'm like, what was that? Because my dog heard it, I heard it, and my radio was blaring. I mean, it was right beside me. I was like, couldn't have been a deer, because no deer is going to step on anything that loud and break it, first off. So continuing on, I get to the gas station. I stay there. That unsettled me, so I stay there for about an hour until I figured out what I was doing about my camping situation. So I said, okay, I'm going to park down by the bridge where I did last time. That way I'm close to the main road. So if anything happens, I can just get out. Because at this point, I'm like, with everything that's been going on, maybe this isn't such a good idea, but I'm already here. I've had quite some crazy experiences throughout the last night and throughout the day, except for actually trying to be normal and going for a hike and fishing. And that was probably the normality of the day, I guess. So we drove back down there, went to the bridge. We parked. How the bridge goes is it used to be old place to dock your boat, and now it's like they have it so you're not allowed to dock there now. So you could pull in there, so you can fish under the bridge or fish in another spot or whatever. So usually there's people fishing. There is nobody at all. But I didn't know that it was about the storm later on in the night, and that's probably why a lot of people decide not to stay and continue fishing. Which that was kind of weird. So I'm like, all right, I'm pulling in. I get ready to chill out. I get my bed ready in the back of my van. I get my dog's bed ready. I start playing something on my phone. We're listening to, I don't know if I was listening to Josh or if I was listening to you, Abe. I can't remember. But at 2 minutes into that, my dog starts just barking and going off. I'm like, oh, what now? I'm like, I bet somebody's probably pulling up in here. They're going to fish. And it's like, all right, just whatever. So I look and I'm like, okay, there's no light. So where's my dog barking at? So I turn my stuff off and I start like sneaking up, and I'm trying to calm her down, but she won't calm down. She's just low growling. She's barking, staring at something. I'm like, and then I'm trying to hush her up. Like, okay, like it's a little weird because, I mean, and I don't see nothing. She seen something that's probably a deer, but again, I didn't see anything. Next thing you know, to the right of me, and the first time I heard this, I was way down the road before I got to the bridge. So in that hour's time, that thing made it from wherever I heard it to where it is now. Right beside me to the right, because right there's woods. In front of me is the road, and then woods, the swamp area. Then it goes off into the reservoir, and behind me is all reservoir. It's all lake behind me. So I hear this big snap, and it was the same exact sound as what I heard before. Same sound. I'm like, okay. So I started listening. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm not going to sit here and be comfortable. So I had sat up in my front seat. I'm like, all right, I got my dog's bed, put it up in the front seat. I'm like, I guess I'm not going to bed tonight. I'm going to sit here because I don't know what that was. And next thing you know, about 3 minutes go by and a car starts coming down the road from where I once was coming. And as it did, same thing that happened to me, crack again, as this car was coming down the road. Now, I heard somebody say that Bigfoot will do that to warn you to stay away, because I don't think it was something running that was making. I think it was intentionally breaking these huge, giant pieces of wood.
This is a word, yeah.
It's had the same acoustic, had the same sound, too loud for anything to be. And I didn't hear nothing was walking around. It was just a single snap. And I forgot to mention the second time when it happened, when I was sitting there, I was listening to, like, it sounded like the frogs and everything were doing an orchestra. I mean, it was really bizarrely awesome sounding. And then my area where I was at, everything went quiet, but yet you can hear things making noise in another area way down the way. And same goes for another spot way down this way, right? So I'm like, okay, that's weird. So that right then I knew it was a predator, and could have been coyote, but usually they yip, and you don't really see many coyote, especially because people fish there a lot and they don't want to be around people. I mean, you'll see those more towards the train tracks or more towards the more rural areas, if anything. So that was the third time. I had tried to call my friend Brandon. He would not answer his phone. I'm like, what the heck? So then I called my friend JT, and we were talking. I'm like, dude, I'm being stalked right now. And I let him know what was going on. I said, I want you to know where I'm at right now in case something happens. I'm here with my dog. I'm not leaving. Just bounce, man. I'm like, no, because I want to fish in the morning. I don't care what it is. I'm not leaving. I want to go to sleep. I want to go fishing in the morning. And he talked to me on the phone, just make sure that he got my location, and we come up with a plan. I'll let him go. He's going to get in the shower. So I got out of the car and I walked the perimeter to make sure nothing was afoot. I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything, and the bugs started back up again. And something told me to take my car key out of the ignition, because I had it in the ignition just in case I had to get my car going. But before I left the car, I took them out and I put them in my pocket. Here, when I got out and went to go back in, my car was locked. So if I didn't take my keys, I would have been locked out with my dog locked in, and I would have probably broke my window, to be honest. I would have probably broke my window, and I would have left and went home and just bought a new window, I guess, because that wouldn't have went down. Especially because it would have stormed later, so that would have really sucked. But I would have been out there with whatever this was. So things calmed down. I'm sitting there in the driver's seat. I'm like, finally, I'm going to put something on. I'm going to try to get some sleep. And I start doing that. But then when I look up, something made me just look up and pull forward. And that is when it happened. This thing had moved from where it was at on the right side, crossed the street, and walked at the wood's edge on the grass before you get down into the woods, or though it seemed. And I didn't know until like morning time actually how big that it was, because I did not have the depth perception at the time, but I could tell whatever I was seeing. It was I seen it, man. I seen it with my eyes. It was very tall. And here I'll describe it, because this is a thought. I had a couple thoughts go through my head while this was going on, and I almost didn't believe I was seeing what I was seeing at first. So when I seen it, you know how if you're looking at a wall, say a car comes by, hits the lights, hit the tree, and the tree shadow like moves along the wall. So I was thinking that that's what was happening. But I looked both down sides of the road, no cars coming. I look behind me, I'm like, oh yeah, it's all water, no light. So I look up, I'm still following it from right to left with my eyes. Like, there's something really there, and it was blacker than the black behind it. Like
Wow.
you could see it. It wasn't too wide, and it was almost kind of was like hunkering over with its head like this, as if it was looking to leering at my car, just leering as it was walking by. Just I don't think it knew I was watching it. I do not think. And it was almost kind of like a Scooby-Doo villain. You know how they like arch this way and walk, but even though it's slumping, it was still very, very tall. So as I'm watching, I had this thought run through my head. What would happen right now if I turned my freaking headlights on? And I'm like, oh my gosh, what if my dog sees what this is and I look over, she's snoring, she's asleep. And I'm like, thank God, thank God, thank God. And I'm still following it with my eyes. And then it goes down further into the ditch where the swamp is, and it's off. And then I can hear water moving, lots of splashing. And as it moves up the way, you can start hearing dogs that are in the houses that are built out there in the rural areas. You can hear these people's dogs start barking and sounding off from one spot to another spot and to another spot. Eventually, it's gone. The whole thing is done, and that was it. I don't know what it was. I didn't see no defining features. All I seen was a giant shadow mass that, even when I went to look for any kind of tracks in the morning, it was storming and raining. So whatever evidence of any kind of tracks, if it was something physical, which it was all spirit. It was all spirit, because seeing it, I also had time to think one more thing is, you don't know how big 10 or 11 foot tall is until you actually see it for yourself. It's freaking intimidating, let me tell you. Not what I thought. All right. Humbled, we'll say. Humbled. God said, hey, you want to see one real bad? I'll give you a little taste. It's like, I already got a taste of what I want for you anyways. And I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm cool. Cool. Dude.
That's like
I'm fine.
the Heavenly Father to tell them, hey, you don't need to this. Don't be here. It's, their territory or whatever.
Dude, and I also thought, like, a lot of people have been seeing Bigfoots in Ohio. A lot of uptick in sightings, apparently. So that was one thing that was running through my brain, because that area in itself, I know, is vast with stories of
a lot of limestone, brother, limestone.
Yeah, a lot of limestone actually by the bridge and stuff where they have the stones put down. Oh yeah, for sure. Not only that,
it's an energy conductor that things will be able to manifest.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, but like I said, that place is rife with burial mounds and all kinds of stuff, man. And I mean, even that lady would describe too, that's on that podcast, that when you go up into Atwater, it's like you step into like a different place, and it is quite different. You can almost know that if you go screwing around at that place, or you go searching for something with purpose, you're probably going to be a missing 411.
The Carter kid says, was this near a national forest?
I do believe that it's state park, not like national forest makes me think of like Yellowstone. So like if you look up like Berlin Lake or Deer Creek and Walburn Reservoir in Ohio, um, you'll look at a map and you'll see. I know that like up in Akron, they got a lot of national forests, and they also have a place called Hawking Hills in Coshocton, Ohio, um, which a lot of like history there with like bandits and stuff, like taking refuge in the caves and like these old cabins that they built back there, and like Wild West days and stuff, and also the Coshocton Dog Man or whatever. I mean, it's all over the internet too for people that tell encounters in that area in Hawking Hills. Um, I've never been there, so I don't know, but I don't think it's. I don't know. I don't know if that's in Southern Ohio or what. Anyways, I'm pretty sure like Berlin Lake though is probably there's probably a lot of forest, national forest area, and I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but I do know that there's a very big, giant military base up that way, like a real big one. And I don't know if that's the Wright Patterson base or if that's the uh, all I know, if you know anything about like the Kandahar Giant and have information like that, I mean, it's common information if you know who to look at. And L.A. Marzulli said it too, and I even think Timothy Alberino. But at one point in time, they had dropped that giant off to a base in Ohio, and that's exactly the base I'm talking about. I just I want to make a map of the area, honestly. There is a lot of forestry. I did not know how rural that part of Ohio was, but I didn't never drove up by myself. I was always, when going fishing as a younger kid, I'm always driving with my uncle or my grandfather, and I'm not paying attention to the woods and stuff, and I'm not driving. I'm just a kid, you know. I didn't realize that I have like such beautiful land just not that far from me, man. That's just, man, I could spend a whole summer down there and just have so much to do. I mean, there's so much to do, so much to see. Just alone, just going out and getting like a kayak or getting out there and hitting them hard fishing spots. I like to fish, but place is open 24/7, and it's public hunting. So whatever's in season, you can publicly hunt it there. It's like a no holds bar place, man. You can go and pretty much do what your little hillbilly heart desires, if that's what your hillbilly heart wants. Because I mean, it doesn't close, and it's nobody telling you can't hunt on that land. So I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't know that. So it's hunting, fishing, camping, hiking, boating. It's beautiful, man. Didn't really know that such beauty was so close to me. But I bet we all have something like that that we're not aware about. You know, you just got to get out there and find it. But pretty much that's that, man. It's just been a weird week. God has really been pushing me to see things that aren't, say, like the bigger picture, but they are, because it's like it's like he was saying, you want to go out and help the entire world and jump in and do this real big thing. But what about the people that need help that could help you do that? Help you help the world, man. What about those people that, because of you, they all they wanted was a life with Christ and a life with their children, a life of happiness and no pain, and we can only get that through Christ, and knowing that he could do so much. And I know I've lost a lot, but let me tell you, I've had people come up to me and say that God gave me a word about your kids, and I didn't even know you had kids, but this is what he said. And he said that you were going to get to see them again someday. I don't even know what that means. Take it as you will. I've had people prophesy about that. I know God will bring it back. And so here's the most craziest part of this. Before this even happened, on April 20th, okay, 420, that's my wife's birthday. Going to work that day, as I was getting ready to clock in, I heard a voice say, "Have you went and seen my sister today?" I ignored it. I heard, "Hey, have you went and seen my sister today?" And I looked, and there was a girl behind me, and she was talking to me. And when I realized who she was, it was my wife's sister. I had no idea she worked there. I had no idea I was going to run into her on my wife's birthday. And I had no idea what to say. I like, I mean, that's a little weird. So I'm like, I asked somebody, I was like, how long has she worked here? A couple weeks. How come I haven't seen her? My friend was like, oh, I don't know, divine intervention. I'm like, okay, yeah. I mean, but right there, and I'll tell you that their mother is the one who has custody of my wife's daughter, who is my stepdaughter, and also consider her my daughter, no matter what, and our son. And right there, I can't believe she didn't ask me the question about have I went like about my kids. Like, why would I go visit my wife on her birthday at the graveyard? I That's just like, I know you got to pay your respects, but dude, I moved past it. I will go and visit her, but I don't keep up with all them days and all them anniversaries. That stuff leaves you in bondage. It totally disrupts the healing that God has, man, because you can get lost in a loop with that. Believe you me, where you keep track of every single day, every single thing. You're going there on their birthday, the day they died. Dude, the last time I was there, I've been there maybe 3 times in the past couple of years, and it has all been on her on either a week before March 28th when she passed away, or um, right after her birthday. Because I just go because I want to, like, give flowers or whatever. But I don't stick around. I don't do whatever. And I definitely don't keep track of the days. But for some reason, I ran into her sister, whom I haven't seen since she's even passed away, at my job working there, when I've been working there this whole time and have not seen her going into work
Wow.
on my wife's birthday. So God was getting me ready for a lot of stuff, and I don't know what it is, but I think it's kind of like getting ready to come to a head. And that's going to be something that's going to thrust me into something that I'm not familiar with, and that's very new. But if it's a fight, or if it's a win, I'm not sure. But if it's a fight, it's definitely going to be a different type of battle, because I know God is with me, and everything is ordained because He ordains it. So come on, let's go, because it's all going to work out for His glory. Believe that. I don't know what it is, man, but things are getting exciting. And that's my spiritual encrypted encounter, guys.
Yeah. We hit the 3 hour and 13 minute marker.
Yeah, we have.
But if
Well,
we can
thank
all
you
say a prayer
for
for this
sharing the
guy,
story, brother. What's up?
if we could pray for this vet, man, like really pray for him
Cool.
together.
Go ahead, brother. Lead the prayer.
All right. Lord Jesus, thank you very much for this time that you have given for us all to come together and have fellowship and be able to talk about the experiences and the testimonies that we have of your greatness and of your enemies, to expose them with your light, oh Lord, but also to the fact that there's people out there hurting, Lord, and you would put one of those people in front of me that has children that had fought for our country, and just who even knows what all he went through. And he has a genuinely good soul and has some kind of purpose still. And that is because he must raise those kids up, Lord, in Jesus' name. So, Lord, I ask that anything that is distracting this man, or any kind of drugs this man is bonded to, or any kind of succubus, or any kind of lust or void this man is filling in his heart, these things are attacking him and bringing him down to a level he should not be at. He already knows what being a warrior is like. So a lot of warriors are downfalled when it comes to their family falling apart, because what is a man if he does not have his family, Lord? Because then there is nobody to lead for your glory, Father. So I just ask in Jesus' name, Lord, whatever his destiny is, Father, I just ask that you touch this man and you keep this man in contact with me, and maybe maybe there's some people that he can get in contact with that might be able to direct him on how to deal with these issues and these problems while he has to go through this, Lord, because I know firsthand, Father, this battle between children is not easy, and especially when your family has been infiltrated by demonic forces, and its main goal is to just tear apart the family unit and destroy the children and destroy the generations going forward, Lord. And I know the game, Father. I know it all too well. I see it everywhere, and it's not just in my life. It also, Lord, it humbles me to know that I'm nobody special. I'm nobody important, but now I at least have the strength to stand up and stand for those who are just now going through the horrible stuff that I had went through, because they now need a person at a time of need. And some people need even greater help. Some people that are vets, Lord, people that not only has seen horrors, but are going through war even after war, Lord. Just like a, a spiritual warfare, Father, that just tears at their life. Lord, I pray that you set this man free. Lord, I pray that whatever destiny you have, that you make it come to fruition. I certainly pray for those children, and I pray for that little girl that was there, and I do pray for that mother if she is in any bondage, if she has anything wicked in her, Lord. I pray that you stomp it out for that little girl's sake in Jesus' name. I could only imagine. I can only imagine. But Lord, I think that you have a knack for turning all bad things around for the good and for your glory. Everything always has purpose, even if the purpose seems to be pain. In Jesus' name, Lord, I pray. Thank you very much for Brother Abe's channel and this time that we have together. And Lord, thank you very much. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I think this man has a lot to bring to the table, and I think this man, I think he has a lot of fight left in him, man, to do something good in this world, just like I do, just like we all do. This is what trauma is so important to not let it tear you apart, but let it build upon you a warrior that knows what it's like to go through those tempered flames, to become that steel. And it's not for the purpose so you can heal and become stronger, so you can handle more stuff. It's so you can help others that are desperately looking to find help because they're going through either something worse than what you did, or they're going through the same thing, or something totally different. I mean, either way, you don't know what's behind the eyes of anybody. So that's why we should always treat everybody with respect, even no matter what kind of day they're having. Sometimes we just gotta like grin and bear like people that like snap at us, and you know they don't mean it. It's a spiritual war.
Yeah.
You got to be the one who's humble to not get angry. So you got to come with that love foundation, as Brother Abe talks about, man. And God will lead you, dude. He'll show you exactly what the point is. But like, it also hurts. Like I said, man, I don't think I cried that much since my wife passed away, and I didn't even know this guy. I just know what's going on in the spirit. I know what his family was going through in the spirit, and it was horrible. It was horrible.
Well, maybe one day you can bring him on the show, man, and we'll talk and see if we can help him out spiritually, so he can open up here if he wants to talk. Know how it is being a veteran and stuff, but
Yeah, I mean, he
sometimes
was.
it's you have to open up and let it out in order to have understanding. You have to let open up. Is it the
I
enemy? The enemy wants you to think you're alone, that nobody's with you, and that's not the case. It tries to take everything that you have just to see if you're going to give up, because that's what he wants. He wants you to give up. The Lucifer is a liar. It's full of lies, and there's a lot of negative seeds, negative plants have been planting. When we talk about the new age stuff, yeah, negative seeds being planted.
Mhm.
I see it all the time. That's why, I'm glad that I do have a relationship with Jesus Christ, personal relationship, true faith, and believe in Him to understand Him, and He shows me and guides me what I have to do spiritually.
He
I
will
don't try
put
to
you
focus
in the
on none
most.
of this new age stuff, or I have my relationship with Him, so He guides me. I know that there's going to be a day that there will be a war, spiritual war, and the only way to fight that war is going to be through spirit. It's spiritual war. That's the only way you're going to be able to fight it. That's why you have to your foundation has to be strong and firm, with no openings, no cracks. And the foundation has to be strong and firm, and that's how we're going to fight spiritual warfare
Mhm.
through the spirit.
And if you're doing anything like rescuing or dealing with people who are going through SRA, my big thing is this: don't go into that fight with anger or with any kind of hatred or with any kind of like, because you just want to like, you just want to make them pay, right? You're gonna get yourself killed, man. I I mean, I believe that Abe and his sister told me in big time that if you go do stuff like that, you better be solid with your faith, because believe me, I didn't really see it until now. I was going up in there because of the hatred I had for what's going on with these kids and everything else, and the evil that's behind it. Man, you got to just go up there, just let God go first, man. So that way, when you do
Yeah,
what you
because the enemy is going to use a hatred against you.
Mhm.
He's going to use
It'll
the
make
hatred,
it'll make
anger,
you it'll tear you
vengeance.
apart, dude.
It tear you apart, man.
You won't be able to handle seeing those kind of sights going out there with them kids if you can't hold your cool. You gotta put that shit behind you, what you see, even if it's like normal people can't handle seeing shit like that. I'm telling you. I've never seen it, but I know what goes on. And the people that deal with that, they're not gonna be waking up with dreaming of this shit. No, what they're gonna do is they're going to be happy that they saved so many kids, that those kids are now saving kids. Now they're grown up and now saving kids. I'm talking about Troy Brewer is a real good example of that. I mean, we probably talked about him before, but he goes through that. So he explains how he gets through all the bad he sees, because it's just like, how could anybody put a smile on their face when they know the horrible things these kids are going through and what's happening right now as we speak to somebody out there? It's enough to make you want to do it yourself. You know what I mean? People do. They can't handle it. I mean, same in wartime. I mean, how many times does that happen when somebody's come home and like just couldn't handle that shit? So they either had an altercation with the cops and been gunned down, or just gunned themselves down, or died of an overdose, or took. There's a lot of veteran horror stories out there, people. A lot. Um, traumatizing because there's no help for these people, and a lot of times, even if they have a support system, they're not coming back to the same. It's not. There's something changed, man. It's just some people they lose themselves out there. Even I haven't been through physical war, but I'll tell you the war I've been through, I've lost myself more than once, a couple times, of hopelessness. And then I become my own. You become your own worst enemy at that point. That's not what God has for you. That's all. That's all I say. I'm gonna jump off here, everybody.
Go ahead, brother.
Or even so, Andres, jumped on here when you jumped on here. Uh, you got any cool stories with you living by a graveyard, my guy?
Damn, you were here. You heard that?
I mean, oh yeah, it looked like salmon colored. I remember.
I don't recall any like cool stories, but the only thing that did caught my interest was that I actually do live near a burial, an Indian burial mound, and I did see somebody who supposedly, this is a story that I caught on my feed that I think like a group of students went there to see if they could find it, and they did, but the story goes was that something happened that when other people came to see how they were doing, they found every single person down there in a fetal position. Now, I actually did go there for a high school project of mine, and that was like cleaning the graves, that sort of stuff. But what I didn't know was that we actually ended up having to dig a place for the gravestone itself, and I did help plant it actually. Me and another student there, and this was supposedly somebody from who might have been in the Civil War, but I'm not sure.
Holy crap!
So, but it was nice getting to do that for somebody who was supposedly passed. But that was basically something that was something cool that I did in this life.
Yeah, I just seen somebody who was actually does content where he's out there like cleaning graves or whatever, and he has a spirit box with him. So they'd be like thanking him and stuff. Like I wouldn't be doing all that now, man. You bring a Ouija, just scrub the damn things, man. Don't be bringing some freaking electronic Ouija boards out there. So, but I mean, there's no bad responses. It's just they're usually just like thank you, and it's just bizarre. But he does that, and he kind of does a paranormal show that way. I'm not sure if that's his job or if he just does it out of the kindness of his own heart. Like I said, I just caught it on online like a while ago or whatever. But that's reminding me of that. Yeah, I mean that is pretty cool though. It really is.
Yeah, I'm just glad I managed to do something. There was
Right.
some.
A lot of that.
I mostly did that for like community hours stuff, and I did I think when I was a junior or a sophomore in high school.
Yeah, see, nobody takes care of. Some cemeteries don't take very good care of the graves there. Like they do not care, and especially if it's like if you leave something or replace something, they'll just mow over it or they'll just throw it away. And I know my son's headstone is cracked in half, and half the time when I go up there, it's buried into the ground where you got to dig it up. You got to I make this big thing where I take a whole bunch of little rock, like a little gravel rocks or a river rock or whatever, and I'll put it all on his grave. So it's like this white limestone, and I'll have his thing and I'll shine it. So I kind of like the same thing, but it's just his. But I would definitely love to be in service of cleaning up gravestones out there of some that need it, but I don't like going to cemeteries that much. Just not a fan.
Yeah, and on the whole, the reason I actually went to do that was because I was part of the high school program. ROTC is like the kid version of like the army or something, or
Oh yeah, ROTC, yeah.
that's the reason I was actually there. I couldn't do ordinary gyms, but I could do some kind of physical activity, and that was the ROTC program. So I joined it back as a freshman.
Now, what state? I can't remember exactly what state you said.
I live in Illinois.
Illinois, that's right. I don't know nothing about Illinois.
Yeah. Oh, apparently another thing I actually found out was each of the states are supposedly named after some kind of tribe. I'm not sure how true that is though.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay. I know what you're talking about. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head that is, but I can't. Like the Dakota tribe.
No, yeah, I can definitely see where with North and South Dakota.
Hmm. Um, yeah, I'll be brain farting all day if I try to think any harder. Been a
Yeah.
been a long couple of days.
You know, there is something else I did do at that cemetery. I don't know why, but for like a random day, I just decided to go down there, and I was actually remembering the whole me going down there and helping out with the graves. But I to just read off some. I was actually reading the Book of Revelations, and I decided to do that when I was walking around the cemetery. I don't know why. I just started reading it aloud.
You had the actual Bible with you,
No, not the actual Bible.
but you were reading on the stones.
No, I was reading off of an app on my phone.
Oh, okay. Technology, I forgot. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. The last time I was at a cemetery, there was this. It wasn't a grave, but it was kind of like a big stone monument, and it had the Our Father prayer on it. It also had um, David's prayer to the Lord, and it also had Psalms. Oh gosh, it has Psalms. I can't remember Psalm something. It's
Uh-oh.
Psalms 3 4. Oh,
Yeah, my connection.
is it cold out there in Texas right now?
Yeah, well, not cold. It's yeah, kind of nippy outside.
It's like 39 degrees here, 40 degrees,
Mm.
and raining. It got cold from it being 80 degrees past couple days. Weird weather.
Yeah, we're at the 3 hour and 30 minutes, man. We might call it a night. Uh, yeah, thank you for sharing with your the story and stuff. Yeah, but there, if the veteran, if he's listening to this, man, you're not alone, brother. Jesus Christ is with you. I've lost a lot of things myself. I've been targeted that way. I had lost my son, but then I regained my son back. And I raised my son. I got blessed to raise my son, but while I was raising him, I got sick with a blood clot in my leg, and they tried to take me out through the VA system. They took me out because I was somewhere else, but I got blessed to come back to my vessel, to my body, even though I know I was going to suffer. So I was like Igor. My leg was literally dragging. I had no strength on it, and the VA facility never sent me to physical therapy or nothing. So I had to train myself back, learn how to walk, which I did. And when I was going through all that, I was fighting the spiritual warfare there in Elms Grove. When I left in 2015 from there, I barely paid off that mobile home, but I left it behind. I didn't want to do nothing with a mobile home. Too many bad events, all the spiritual attacks. So I left everything behind and started from scratch.
Is that when you had was on These Woods Were Haunted? Is that?
Yeah.
Oh
When I
shit!
did this Woods Are Haunted, I was already not living there no more.
Oh, you was.
I had moved to Temple.
But was that about where you were living at that?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, in Killeen, in Elms Grove Estates.
I see.
And the mobile home is way bigger than that. It's not like they make it seem in the movie. It's a big mobile home
Yeah.
park, but there's a lot of activity there. Um, when you're by yourself, and then like people know you're a veteran, the first thing they're going to say, oh, the person's got PTSD. That's the first thing people will say, right? You got PTSD, or they try to mess with you because you're a veteran, and they mess with you on purpose just to say, oh, he's got PTSD, whatever, I mean, we had to do what we had to do, I was a tanker. I know where I've been. I know what I've done. But, God has been with me even then. Yeah, we all been through something, but doesn't mean to give up in life.
No, I mean, look
Because
how
you're
many
not
people
alone.
you've touched.
Jesus
And
Christ is with you. So he's blessed me numerous times, numerous times. So, I got blessed with a new home, got a new house. Sometimes when you let go of everything and you're devoted to your faith and believe in Jesus Christ, he's going to bless you eventually. Sometimes when before the blessing comes, many things might happen. A lot of trials and tribulations. You might go through a lot of things, but if you maintain your heavenly love foundation and you surpass the obstacles that come your way, eventually the blessing is going to come to you. And when it happens, you're going to be like, whoa, the Heavenly Father blessed me.
you're
I had
gonna
even
be
put the
better.
minerals over here in this cabinets behind me, But yeah, he blesses you. You just got to stay obedient. And the reason I say to maintain your heavenly love foundation, your relationship with them, to wash your cures of peace, because the spiritual warfare, these unseen forces, man, they pay attention to everything that we do. They're around us, so they know what openings you might have. That's why I say, I always tell people it's never too late to ask God for forgiveness and repent for your sins, and have a relationship with Him,
And they
because
want to get
he's
you as
he's a
far
he's
away
a
from
the
God as they
protector and
can.
the avenger. It's Him. This new age stuff, man. This is the first time I hear it of what boy was talking about. I don't know about new age stuff. I know Jesus Christ. What they're talking about, what the hell are they talking about? Is something that they've made up in their
Christ,
Scientology
Christ
or something?
consciousness. They start talking about Christ consciousness, and I'm like, yeah, I'm conscious about Christ. Is that what you mean? I mean, I don't like that word. That word's like a dirty word to me.
I'm just saying, man. When you truly have a relationship with Him, He's blessed me, and He's continued to bless me. I know that eventually, if He calls my number, because He needs me for the higher battle, spiritual warfare, and I have to be obedient. So, whether it is that He's going to use me here, like He's been using me to get the spiritual warriors ready, whatever the case is, I just gotta stay spiritual ready. I just don't want you to understand is when it's Him, and when it's the enemy deceiving you, because the enemy lives negative energy that it brings. Your senses are going to get triggered. Your spirit is going to feel a certain way, because that's what the unseen enemy does. It makes you feel uneasy. You know, catch you off guard, try to catch you off guard, uh, just to see if you're going to get scared. Right?
I mean, all the time.
The manifestations, like you've seen, you should have typed boundary rebuke it in Jesus Christ's name with no fear. Type, but you was worried about your dog and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You're out there, you were in the woods.
All alone.
God's already telling you what's already out there. He's letting you know. So what He wants you to do is just to prepare spiritually.
Oh yeah.
To work through Him. He's going to guide you. He's going to guide you spiritually. It's just you got to have your faith and believe in Him, man.
I know that a lot of this stuff too can come in the form of just random people that you might come across throughout the day. Not even just like something you might see. It could be somebody that you are good friends with, or that you know well, or somebody you don't know well. There's There's always a snake lying in wait to try to bite your heel.
Pray, you know,
The second before your
pray.
feet hit the floor,
Yeah,
I'm trying to get in the habit when I wake up every morning. That's the first thing I do is I talk to God. Every time I
yeah.
put something in my mouth, as much as I can help it, I talk to God. Every time I get in that vehicle, I talk to God. Every time I look at my dog, I talk to God. Um, I I also talk to God and tell him like,
You know,
dude.
your son is with God. His spirit
Mhm.
is with God. He called them for a higher purpose.
Oh, he wasn't.
He's
He wasn't meant for
he
this
was
world.
your
I
son.
straight know that he was
Yeah,
meant
your
for.
son is an angel. He's at a higher purpose. You know, some are called young. You know, spiritual warriors. So
He was.
he's around you. His spirit is around you. Uh, just
Did
like
I ever tell
our
you
loved
guys
ones,
like the significance
your
with my
guardian
son and
angels.
about like the day he died and like the day he was born?
Uh,
Like I think I probably mentioned it, but so he was born a day after my grandpa. I named him after my grandpa. My grandfather was very important in my life, and you know, he was a day after. He died a day before my wife's birthday. Weird. It's just weird things. And he looked just like me and my wife's son. My wife pointed it out. I have pictures to prove it. I have the receipts. They side by side. They looked almost identical. Um, I know they're not the same. It's not the same spirit, but I know that there was a message there, and there always has been. Um, and I know that he is. If he didn't die, I probably wouldn't be here. I probably wouldn't know what I know. I mean, a lot of things are clearer now of why certain things had to happen, especially now that I know what I know. What God showed me is all the stuff I ever been through was that same entity, the one that took my wife from me. It always was her. It was always there before I was here. It was trying to stop something in the bloodline. Um, I mean, this is happening everywhere. It's not just happening to me. This is happening everywhere. If you have, I'm just saying, man, I really think it has something to do because that's like, I think those are going to be the last warriors of God, man, for real. They're going to be the last people um, to fight in this world against the darkness when we're gone because I don't know. I feel that. I feel it in my spirit, and maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm telling you right now, if we all prayed and came against it, we can change the course of history no matter what is about to happen. If we know a big tsunami is coming next year, we can all pray against it and it won't happen. If we think big asteroid is going to fall on us in 2029 before 2030, we could pray against it. If we think that they're going to have global control by 2030, we could pray against it. As a collective, if we pray in the name of Jesus against these things and move and call God to and just cry out to him, he'll what does it say he did in the Bible when his people cried out to him? What did he do? Didn't he make like the earth swallow up a bunch of people? Didn't he like freaking
He does a lot of things. You know, he does the things that does a lot of things. You know, says that towards the end of the days that there's no place that the wicked is going to be able to hide. You know how they're building all this underground bunkers and all this stuff.
yeah,
There is no place where they're going to be able to hide from God's wrath.
didn't
No
work for the
place.
other ones, did it? Where are they at? Didn't work for them. Why would they even think that that would work a second time? It doesn't. That don't make no sense to me. Um, it really doesn't because if you look at things, these things made these big hibernation chambers where they would go in and then that's why you see all these things in these places where there's these tombs, but that's not what they weren't tombs. They were just places that these giants went into, and they had all the food that they needed to try to make it through all this. And then whenever everything was over, if they survived, they came back out. But it didn't work very well for them, did it? So
No,
what makes you think that Mark Zucker turd or
none of
uh,
those people
Bill
are going to be able to
Applegate
get
or
away.
whatever building all this shit, taking all the farmland, doing all this crap, and then I guess I heard somebody built a $3 billion structure underneath the ground or something, and I can't remember. It was some kind of high up government person. It was mainstream, but it was all over the news, and they were really like hammering them about that. Like, what is the need to? And it's such a big city that they have their own jail, hospital. It's an actual functional smart city underneath the ground. I'm not sure. I think it maybe in California. I might be wrong, but it literally costs billions of dollars to make, and it has its own hospitals, jails, and everything else. It's an entire town.
Like I said, nobody's going to be able to escape from God's wrath. Look what happened to all the other ones from before. Look what happened to the Nephilim. Look what happened to all these empires that have fallen. Yeah, can't escape God's wrath.
No, this time he's gonna roll it up like a scroll. Then what? This is it. Knew everything. There's no escape. It's just they're so deluded that they don't even understand it's in clear writing what is about to happen. And they're doing everything they can to shift every single timeline or bring it closer to happening or bring it farther from happening. They're doing all this manipulation and all this freaking sleight of hand tricks like a magician behind the scenes of stuff. They don't know what they want to do. They are scattered. They are so deceived that they just it's a clown show, man.
Yeah.
It's a clown show.
And we're going to hit the 4-hour marker.
Yep.
I wonder
What do you
time-
think, Andres?
Oh, there ain't no freaking place these people can hide. He created this world.
Telling
And
you, man.
Satan may rule it, but it was never going to be forever. It's only temporary.
Yeah, he's only loose for his little temporary season too. I mean, dude, I can't believe that at this time we're living in these days, and it's like not scary. It's like, who can say that they lived? I'm not saying, if this is it, that they lived to see the end of it all, man, or the beginning of the end of it all, and seeing God really move, and the truth really be shown for what it is, because it is, dude. The light is coming through the cracks of darkness, man, and a lot of stuff is just like they're not hiding it. A lot of stuff is getting found out. There's a lot of shit coming down, and yet people are so controlled that they're not there. It's not catching to them yet. Just like when they went to go see them launching that moon mission or whatever, it wasn't a big stink like it was back in the 50s. Not this time. Some people didn't even know it was happening on April Fools, no less.
All that stage, man.
You know what?
So that's why I said I already told people, man. Next year when they go to land on the moon is when they're gonna fire that weapon up to cause that mass tsunami to take out a whole bunch of people to straighten this world up for their whole freaking one order. That's what that moon landing shit is all about. Dude, I already know, man. I say this, if you know, you know, and I'm not trying to spread any kind of like propaganda or but dude, it's a distraction for something. What is it? It's not a distraction for the Epstein files. That's the damn freaking war going on with the fucking Strait of, pardon my French, with the Strait of Hormuz or whatever, what Trump is doing and all that stuff. That's a distraction from the Ep files. So what the frick is the moon mission distracting? Well, has anybody looked out the freaking window lately and seen what the moon cycles look like and noticed that they're upside down and not left to right anymore? That
Yeah.
they're now, dude.
Yeah.
What's going on?
People are wondering what's going on.
Nobody's saying nothing about it. Nobody is. This is like, now it's like I started seeing this happening years ago and looked it up, and it was something that didn't happen very often. They called it something, but now it happens all the time. There is no normal moon cycle. In fact, I have pictures of it. It's like the Cheshire cat smiling. Um, there's things happening that's going on above our heads, and it's not just cloud seeding. It's other things, and he says right there, lying signs and wonders, man. Um, ain't nobody ever seen the crap that's
There
going
you
on.
go. It's a setting, and all these minions are already defeated,
Mm-hmm.
and they know it. It's just the drama before the defeat.
Yeah. And what's crazy is if we're in Satan's little season and Christ came back, or if that's not the case, it doesn't matter because that's not the issue. The issue is like if that did happen, it's funny how they're trying to make Revelations. They're mocking Revelations all over again, when in fact we could very well be sitting at Revelations 20 already, if we have been deceived that much. Because I mean, Christ even talked about that some of the people that he was around, even the Romans, wouldn't taste death on his return. And if he did return and all that, and we are in Satan's little season, that means we're in Revelation 20, and that's the rain of fire that consumes all the wicked. We're there already. This little thing I'd like to throw out there. So it kind of seems like, oh, we're waiting for an antichrist in the mark of the beast. If that shit already came, all they're doing is mocking it. All they're doing is making it out to look like there is one coming, just like they did the sacrificing of the red heifer with those cows that came out of Texas. When are they going to build the third temple again in Israel? I mean, they already did that. I do believe that's already was a thing. It's already done, been dead and gone. They're just really distorting our history, and they're trying to make it look like we're going through Revelations right now from start to finish, when in fact we're right there on Revelation 20, in my own opinion. It's not even a salvation issue, but I mean, if you really go down the rabbit hole and you really see it for what it is, it's just blatantly obvious, dude, that I do believe that we are in the little season. I do believe Christ already came back, and I do believe that when you look at some of those mountains that look like ice cream scoops, that those were the things melted with fervent heat that it so spoke about. And I think the millennial reign already happened, man, and we are just the children of the dead that rose. We're the children of the dead, so we're the last, dude. Whether that's true or not, it doesn't matter. It matters is this is how much they have been screwing with our history that we don't even know anymore. And that right there is like conspiracy theory to end all conspiracy theories. If you want to go little season, it's not a conspiracy, because everything that's conspiracy, it ends up 95% being true anyways. Wouldn't even be out there if it wasn't. I mean, what relevance would that have for that to even come out when they've been hiding it for so freaking long? And now all of a sudden, Neros, the Roman emperor at the time, was probably the Antichrist. Pope Sixtus VI was the bishop who was the beast, and all that. Yeah. I mean, it's already happened, and all they're doing is mocking stuff, just like they're mocking how it happened before, and they're gonna build their little structures and their tunnels and everything. And I'm sorry, some are even gonna try to go to Mars if that were possible. Why do you think dude's building a freaking army of robots to get to someplace? But there's no escape, man. Stargates and stuff maybe, but whatever's there probably don't want you there. It's crazy stuff, man. It's just there's nothing new under the sun. Tale old as time. That's all I gotta say. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. It's
Brother.
4:00 in the morning here.
Yep.
And I wish blessings upon all you. Just stay in love and stay in light, y'all. Keep doing what you're doing, Dave. You're doing great things here, man. And you really put me into a place of really understanding Christ, man. Thank you so much again.
You're welcome, brother.
You are my brother from another mother, man. I love you too, buddy.
All right, love you too, man.
Love and blessings, brother.
And Heavenly Father, watch over
everybody else who's in the chat I can't see. You also have a good one. Thanks again. Shadow Wolf out, guys.
Good night, brother.
Dave. Well, you're about to hit the 4 hour marker right now. So I say you had
Yeah.
an eventful show today.
What?
You're about to hit the 4 hour marker, and I say you had an eventful show today.
Yeah, pretty good show. I just, it's open mic night where the viewers can come on and share whatever they want to talk about. That's why I try to give the platform to the viewers. Like Shadow Wolf came in here and he was sharing what he wanted to share. Tuesdays and Thursdays is when I allow the viewers come on and share their stories, their experiences, something that might be going through. The saying, sharing is caring. But yes, if anybody has any bad thoughts of anything, just know that it's not you. It's the unseen forces that is trying to make you think that way. So take authority over him and tie bind and rebuke him through the name of Jesus Christ and tell him to leave you alone because you're being protected by the Heavenly Father and the heavenly angels. So all I'm saying, brothers and sisters, is God loves you. I love you as a brother and sister in Christ. And he will not forsake us. He will not forsake you. He will forsake me because he loves us. Just like he loves us, he expects us to love one another the same way. And forgiveness is part of the love. And that's what the enemy uses is unforgiveness to jump from generation to generation, generational curses. So if we cut those negative ties of unforgiveness, then we free ourselves away from those generational curses, or should I say, the unclean spirits or demons that jump from generation to generation, by cutting those negative ties. But in saying that, I'm going to finish off this with a prayer before we go. Heavenly Father, at this time, we'd like to pray for all my brothers and sisters here on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters, for them to stay spiritual ready at all times, for them to maintain their heavenly love foundation, no fear, no believing in other things, no anger, hatred, no vengeance, for them to maintain their faith and their belief in you, Heavenly Father, and just for them to know that they don't stand alone, and that you're there with them, that we can win spiritual war against his unseen forces, all in through his name. In the name of Jesus Christ, we can overcome that. If there's any witchcraft, necromancy, or any unclean spirits that try to affect any of the members here of Spiritual Encrypted Encounters, we take authority over you in Jesus Christ's name. We tie bind and rebuke you in the name of Jesus Christ. Leave us alone. You're not allowed to affect anybody. As we call upon the heavenly angels and the Holy Spirit to do a clean sweep of our vessel and our homes, or property, or belongings, and our pets. This we pray in your name, Heavenly Father. Amen. In saying that, brothers and sisters, thank you all again for tuning in tonight. I hope you enjoyed the show. This is Brother Apesius, Sarncius, signing off from Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. God bless you and your families. Like I said, I love you. That's strong, man. When you say I love you, and it's radiating from a heavenly love foundation with a relationship with Jesus Christ. That is powerful, brothers and sisters. And then he blesses you with the spiritual gifts of discernment on top of that. Oh my God, it's just an awesome feeling of being loved that way. Then he guides you spiritually to do the good works. Good night, everybody. Peace out.